I read a remix. This is called the Holy Ghost, bet you can't do it like me. You better do it. Y'all ain't ready for this. Turn up, Pastor. Yeah. Yeah. I say, ha, 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 hallelujah. 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 Baby can't pray like me, can't read the Bible like me, can't prophesy like me, can't praise and worship like me. No, baby can't shout like me, can't stand the oil like me, can't speak in tongues like me, can't plead the blood like me. Oh, no, baby can't do it like me. Bitch can't do it like me. Bitch can't do it like me. See, I come to the church, I lift my hands and wave them in the air. I come to the left, come to the right, put a praise on it. Now run, 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 run. Yeah, put a praise on that. 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 Rebuke the devil.
No, false preachers are preaching rapture and disappearing, and it's known as written that the righteous shall inherit the kingdom of God, the earth, and the wicked shall be shaken out. Speaking of rapture, I'd like to do a song for you. Got to give credit to my man, Bootsy. But nonetheless, I sing for you. I dance for you. I fight for you. Come on, man. Let's go to court. Let's see what right happened. Then they're going to have to set all people free because they've been dealing treacherously with my niggas, huh? Think they're going to have to, they want to do that, huh? Everybody know Whitey's greater than God, huh? Woo! But anyway, stand up and sing this song to my people. If I could take you away to a better day, oh, how our love would turn out okay. And if you will just listen to me, we could take advantage of the dream. Yes, together, just you and Jesus. Well, if this old corrupt with the spirit of the Lord to because I'm gonna come, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. You know, when you're out there in Venice talking that hatred, my father is a God of oneness, God of cooperation, you know, and he's not competing against the devil. See, old man like God, and he like be racing the devil and be like trying to beat the devil to the punch. When God's thing is already established. You don't understand that though, huh? You don't hear me though, huh? Hey, Whitey can come and overturn God's rules. Hey, we don't do things around here. We don't do things the way that omnipotent, omnipotent, omnipowerful, omnipresent God do it, because that's religion. So it's all right for you to deal treacherously with us, huh? Charges the fee to ride on Caesar's roads, huh? You're going to charge the sons of the Most High God, huh? After all Jesus done did for you. And he said to me, Son of man, I send you to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto it. Yeah, that's the thing I gotta say about Israelite. You sit on TV and say something like, "Oh, everybody knows everybody knows Joseph has got that girl Mary pregnant." like God is unable. That's virtually impossible for God to conceive a baby without the help of a man, huh? We're talking about it's impossible for the one. We're talking about the same God who opened the Red Sea. Talking about the same God who closed the mouths of David and lions did. When it comes to a woman being impregnated by God's Spirit, omnipotent, this is the Almighty Almighty God we talking about, right? That's virtually impossible, huh? How could you put that in the air? You must be a goddamn fool. But I knew that. I already know that. I come for, see, the worshiper, I care who you worshiping. Today you working for me. I come with the truth.
I thank God for slavery. I thank God for the crack house. If it wasn't for the crack house, come on somebody, God wouldn't have never been able to use me how he can use me now. And if it wasn't for slavery, I might be somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree.
Oh, what is good, my people? We are live back again on the forecast. What's going on, everybody? Consider shouts out to you, Raw, Tanzan, Ketter, Botswana, Better Medicine. Shouts out to all of y'all. What's going on, Matron?
Hey, Forecast, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And don't blame Matron for that. That was all me. I wanted to use a different clip of that brother, but it was too much cussing and too much music. But I don't know if y'all remember that. That was from like back in the day. But we had to get spooked out right from the beginning. But first before we even go in, Matron, introduce yourself, and her channel is in the description if you want to subscribe to her.
Greetings, everyone. Peace to the chat and everyone listening in the future. I'm the Revolutionary Matron, and my show is called Our Matron's Learning Curve, where we read different documents and synthesize them. We do live shows every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for having me, Forecast.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Yeah, so we definitely got to get the spooked out thing out the way. You know what I'm saying? This is a topic that we need to have. And first, let me give my disclaimers, because I'm not against nobody's religion and nobody take anything personal or nothing like that. I'm not trying to disparage Black people's beliefs or nothing like that. Whatever you believe is on you. You know what I'm saying? But we are here to make you think of things in a different perspective, if you will. So I just want to say that. But Matron, I'm gonna challenge some of those, beliefs.
You can challenge my beliefs. I'm just trying to get to the God. Get to
All
the
right.
God.
All right, so we're gonna be spooked out today. So first I'm gonna let you go ahead and go ahead with your first question, and then we'll go kind of back and forth.
Well, I'm just really curious, and anyone in the chat or listening to this in the future can answer this question. How do you understand, understand, overstand, or perceive God? Um, is that something that you even have a conscious thought about, or are you just recycling the ideas that somebody outside of you explained or expressed to you? So, what about you, Forecast? How do you perceive God?
Oh man, it's a straight tough question right out the bat.
I
When it
swing
comes,
hard. I swing hard.
see, like when it's a God, saying like for me the closest word I could put on it would be like it. What I'm saying, there's something that you can't define or whatever. And I would say, I don't know, but like, the definition is creator. What I'm saying? Like, my mom and my dad, I would see them, as guys. I would see us. The best way I could put it is that we, all of us, me, myself included, you, we are the physical expression of said God. So we would be it. What I'm saying? I don't care if I'm like a hair on the arm. What I'm saying? I am it. What I'm saying? And we are the physical manifestation of that.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Um, I can vibe with that. I perceive God as a creative force or consciousness. Uh, and there are people that get lost in the story of the making of God and the operations of God, but it is the creative force, process, or energy. So once you see or find God in anything, You have the ability to see and find God in everything. And you have to decide how you're going to relate to the God that you've identified. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we get lost in the stories that people tell trying to explain and express God, which is something I don't think a lot of people even understand or can wrap their minds around.
Yeah, I could feel you. I could feel you on that. And I think that's a great question to start off with too, because like people don't have the definition of God when they're speaking of it. You know what I'm saying? Because my question most times would be like when they feel like, yo, God, when I would say which God, you know. Um,
Hmm.
but yo, we gonna get into a whole lot of stuff about, you know what I'm saying, this whole terminology God. But before I even show anything, you know, I want to ask you my first question though, you know. So my question is kind of about like origin stories, you know what I'm saying? Like how come people feel this need to have, how come people can't just say I don't know? You know what I'm saying? The first person or people or whatever may not have even known. So why can't people just say I don't know? Why they have to make up a story or whatever?
Okay. From my perspective, have you ever heard the statement, knowledge is power?
Yeah.
And when people are trying to convince others to do something, whether it's taking care of them or doing what they say or following their way of life or anything, knowledge and information is power. And so if they admit that they don't know, then they have to then justify why they should be in charge. And men, as in humanity, has often justified who should be in charge based on who is the most powerful or who is the strongest one. What we have seen consistently is that the strongest one doesn't necessarily know how to do things and how to organize people to get the job done so that we can move forward. So if you admit that you don't know, then you acknowledge that you really don't have any more power than anyone else. And if you do that, you then have no justification for your superior, quote unquote, place or position. But that's really been consistently revealed because each man should be the head of his household. But that's why they do that. They say they don't want to say they don't know because then they can't justify being in a place and a position of power. If you told your kids you didn't know something, then the first thing your child is going to do is challenge you and say, "Well, why don't you know? Don't you have a story for me to explain this phenomenon that I'm experiencing? Don't you have some explanation for this?" And if you don't know, then you lose your power or prestige.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand what you're saying, but you know, ultimately, the person who's listening to the person tell the story, because my next logical question would be like, how the hell would you know that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like when they be like, yo, the first person did such and so, how would you know possibly know that? You know, and also, you know, just something with that, with like little children or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You could be like, instead of saying, well, you know what, we don't really have the answer to that. Maybe you could grow up and be a scientist or a doctor or find a cure or find a discovery or find the answer for that by, you know what I'm saying, going to a lane. You should think about that, you know. You could actually use that to encourage them to get into a specific thing, you know, by being like honest with them, you know, not in a like like in a confident way, because you know, I think that when you're confident, you can confidently say, I don't know, but you know, this is the thing, you know, because like let's be real, nobody knows everything, you know. But yeah, what do you think about that?
I'm going to go with Napoleon on this one. He says history is a set of agreed upon lies. And that's all that we really know about the world because none of us were there. And if we don't get to the point within ourselves to a state of consciousness where we understand that the past that they've told us is not all true. Everyone's perspective about the events that have happened matter. All of the different stories are just that. They're just stories. And we have to get to the point where we are being self determining and deciding what we're going to do and how we're going to impact this world. Then we're going to continue in this cycle of being powerless and resourceless and landless and disenfranchised because we don't ever just get beyond the story to go about seeking real power.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Yeah, so yeah, you can go ahead with your next question.
Okay, so I'm all about definitions and trying to understand things because I don't think that the definitions or the language that we have is really sufficient to express the different ideas and the different concepts. So, do you have a working definition for religion, spirituality, or an understanding of those different things? We can do them one at a time if you like, but are they the same thing? Are they different things? Do you have concepts or thoughts about those things?
Okay, as for okay, so I'll start with religion, all right, because that's the easier one, you know what I'm saying? For me, well, I may be wrong too, so but you could correct me. But I think religion is just doing something over and over and over, you know what I'm saying? And I think that when you do something religiously, it should be bearing food, clothing, shelter, protection, all of the essential things that you need in life, and then the extracurricular things on top of that. So it would be, doing the same things over, like doing something religiously. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. You want me to go to the next one, or you want to say something?
I can agree with you about the religion thing. I think religion is an economy organizing principle. I think that people need a reason to be in relationships with other humans and to deal decently with each other. And I think that religion has been the consistent vehicle that we use to relate to one another. Well, go ahead, go on to spirituality for me.
All right, so spirituality is a little bit hard because, to be honest with you, I don't know for real. But my understanding of it is like I understand that everything is connected. Like like it's being in the situation, being aware, like being connected with the people that's around you, and it's not like some kind of spooked out thing. You can tell things by body language, how people speak, it's just being aware, and understanding that, like life is around you and you are a part of that life, I guess, and I don't know. I think it's just like um because like it's hard to I can't tell you what a spirit is, but like if you ever been to a morgue where you seen like a dead person, like that they aren't there, their body is there, but they not there no more. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, that I don't know if that's like close though. What up, Jermaine? What up, Bobby?
I think that spirituality has more to do with what brings you inner peace and what preserves you consistently. I think that when we when we talk about spirituality, there's a verse in the Bible that talks about each man working out salvation for himself with fear and trembling. Okay. And I was Paul talking, trying to explain being saved, quote unquote, to someone. And when I think about that particular verse and spirituality and the things that we do to bring ourselves peace, I think about funerals and different rituals that we do that give us and paying homage to our ancestors, things that give us power and strengthen us. I don't think that it's so much uh, otherworldly. I think it's just another piece of you interacting with this plane that we're dealing on. And when people get to talking about, oh, I'm going to go do sex magic, or I'm going to go do ritual magic and things like that, Those are just things that make them feel good on a personal, individual level.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, because taking part in a funeral, you don't have to be in a religion or anything to, mourn somebody's death and all of those things. So yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Was there any more?
I don't know. You seem like you trying to agree with me a little too much now. I don't know.
I don't know about certain things because like it's certain things that I agree with you about, but certain things that I don't. Because like I'm not saying that I'm not spiritual and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Or that but I also know that I don't know, and neither do none of us know. You know what I'm saying? I do know that.
Do
But
you do you consider yourself religious, or do you think that religion has a place in public, or is it a private thing?
um, I think that I do things religiously. You know what I'm saying? But it's not organized religion. I'm not in an organized religion. I think everybody could be in an organized religion, especially if because it brings brotherhood, camaraderie. But we are in a situation where I think that we got to put our religions, like even Malcolm X, who was religious, said, "Put your whatever at the door," and I agree with that part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like because when people, the problem is some people will be like, "Yo, the only answer is to follow this Bible like this way." You know what I'm saying? Or we have to follow this leader or we have exactly this way, you know what I'm saying? And I think that leaving our personal opinions and our personal beliefs and our all of this stuff, um, because I'm more so of like, like when it comes to like laws and rules, and we'll get into that, but I think that your feelings and emotions should be out of it, you know what I'm saying? Because people you like, we all will give a pass to.
I can rock with that. I think that we place too much emphasis on the religious labels that we've been given to things, because how you worship God is how you worship God. If we're going to say that the Western idea of religion that we've been sold or told is what religion should be. But again, I think that religion and spirituality in the West are publicly sold as a package deal. And I don't think that they are a package deal. I think that they're two very different things. I think that in the West, we have to realize that religion is about economic relationships, because at a church, for instance, somebody selling dinners after service, or somebody has a catering service and they want you to patronize them. Most churches have a mortician or a funeral service attached to them. A lot of churches have other businesses that are a part of that church community that you are expected to patronize. And the Jews live it out and they demonstrate it in all of their lifestyle choices. They go to their grocery stores, they demand that there are specific foods, which brings in the international market into their community. They demand that there are certain foods and clothes and different items come from specific places that have been qualified by their religious leader in an attempt to continue to do business and preserve their community. And we don't do that, because that's what religion is about in the West. Spirituality, again, is something else, because spirituality is how you find peace, is what brings you joy, is what settles you and settles your mind.
Yeah, I could feel you on that, Matron. But see, like this is the thing here. People be thinking it's easy because I go light at the beginning. Say I turn you know how they be like, you put a frog in the thing, not but I hesitate to talk trash to you because you be on your point. But you know what I'm saying. But because it's going to be a little bit harder because there are problems that I think personally that I've seen that have hindered us. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't care what nobody does personally, but it has hindered us with the spirituality being spooked out. You know what I'm saying? With us in particular. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, let me go to the next thing. And there's a lot of questions, but I'm gonna just play these videos. And like I said, you can jump in if you feel like it's something that you need to do. I may do the same. I'm gonna try to play them all the way through, but jump in if you feel like it's something that need to be corrected. You know what I'm saying? But these are some of the things I can agree with, but these are things that I can't agree with. So let me start playing with this one.
And thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. So kiss the boots of the priests and prophets. If you are truly sorry, bow down. Kiss the boots of the priests and prophets. If you are truly sorry. Damn right, man. Hey, clap it up. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, so you ain't sorry.
Now I'm only gonna ask one question after all of these, but it's a lot of questions, like forgiveness and a lot more.
You gotta kiss everybody's boots. Kiss the boots of the former slaves. You understand? She proving that she's an honorable white woman, that she's different from you goddamn other devils, man. You understand? She's kissing the boots of the former slaves, man.
She definitely gonna be at the cookout.
Right, man. Damn right, man. Clap it up. Yeah, one more. Make sure you get that footage, man. If you're truly sorry, damn right, clap it up. And also you can empty out your pockets for the former slaves, man. You understand?
That right there.
To that scripture.
Mm-hmm.
I said that right there. That's where they went. They went too far when they was like, bend down and kiss my boots. Like, I'm like, that don't have nothing to do with nothing. You just doing a public show, a display, right? But that edified, I guess, somebody that want a white woman to bend down to them and kiss their boots, right? That's not even something that a conscious or forward-thinking Black person should want. And then they like, now give us all your money. Like, what does that have to do with anything if it's not all just a big scam for them to try to get money to get relation? Because money is speech in our society. Money can do things that people can't do. Money can pave roads and open ways that we can't access on our own, right? So the fact that they're now demanding money from her is evidence that they're not sincere in what they're talking about. They don't mean that. When you talk to some people, they talk about the perversion of the priesthood. And that's an example of a perverted priesthood, because if they were really serious about what they were talking about and what they were doing, that white woman wouldn't even register on their radar in that way. So they just doing a show. They just doing a show. That's it.
Yeah, but what better way is, I get paid for making the white girl cry, right?
Right. I get paid for making the white girl cry. And that might have edified somebody that wants a white girl that has that primitive or a misunderstanding about what it is to really walk in your own personal deity, to walk in your own self autonomy. I don't know.
Well, that did get her a pass in the cookout, though. So.
No, that don't get her no pass in the. No. What are you talking about? How
Yeah, I wouldn't give her a pass. It was not me. I wouldn't give her the pass, but she heard it. That's what I'm saying.
I will say that the cult, see the cult, right? The Yahuwah cult is strong, because they be sitting there like them Hebrew Israelites, sitting there trying to explain to people different things that's going on, and they're not really giving people the whole story. And my premise about anything to do with any book, specifically the Bible, is that is one perspective of one family's situation, right? Now you can tie in, because of the way that it's written and has been rewritten and things like that, you can tie in other people groups into that book, because they're talking about who they were and how they understood the situation. What you have to do when you're interpreting that book, because that's the one book that they probably won't burn, is you have to say, okay, but what was their relationship to the people involved in this story? And who do you most identify with in this story? Because the supposed victims or victors in that book were not always in the right.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. All right, we'll go to the next one because that was pretty much the whole part right there. So let's play this part right here then.
There are ships from the ends of the earth. Ooh, look at the NLT. What he sees flying is ships from the ends of the earth. Gathering the Israelites. There go the dog. Look at this. 2 dogs walking a little dog. Crazy. The horn slowly poking out of the dog wig. Read. They're bringing the people of. What should I do? Feed her to an alligator? Read. They're bringing the people.
Uh-oh.
Read. They're bringing the people. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16.
Does this make you feel good?
Hebrews chapter 12.
Video the hell out of it. You just called a child a dog.
Hebrews chapter 12.
In the name of Jesus. You called a child a dog in the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
What is wrong with you?
Did?
I didn't do that. Neither did she.
Yes, you did.
Asshole.
Yes, your ancestors did it. So is your mother.
You know what? I'm not my ancestor. And I'm doing what I
you're
did.
benefiting from white slavery and white supremacy.
Privilege.
You're benefiting from white slavery and white supremacy. Give me Hebrews 12.
Damn right. You better not say nothing about a white girl.
16.
Shame on all of you.
Let's just be.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there. Now, listen, I don't know about this one. Now, this one is. You want to say something about this one because the next one is a little bit harder.
Okay, so energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's just transformed, and their expression, the white people's expression towards those black people, was their vitriol and their frustration with their place in the world being diminished. Now he was wrong because he golden them on. I mean, what if you're really on a mission per se, right? For understanding, to help people and to do this, then what does it serve you to call them dogs unless you are reading the verse in the Bible about the woman that petitioned Jesus for help because she said, don't even the dogs eat from the master's table.
But he also said, because I heard now, I don't know much about it, but I also hear Hebrew Israelites saying, he was talking to the white girl, I think Sarah or something like that. Is that true? And then I don't know if that's the right name, but he told her to bow down or something and gave her like scraps or something. Is that what you're talking about?
I think that's what I'm talking about, but I didn't think she was named because Sarah was Abraham's wife.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. I mean, and like I know some things, but the stories kind of, they don't all run together, but it's like we'd have to have a more focused discussion. But Sarah was Abraham's wife and he kept lying, talking about, they weren't married when that was his half sister he was married to, but that's another conversation. But in the New Testament, when Jesus was there and he was talking about he had only come for certain people to save certain people, and she was just like, don't even the dogs eat from the scraps from the master's table. And it's like, if he had been reading that, I could have more palatably taken on the fact that he called them dogs. Just my perspective.
Yeah, true. But I cannot say that I felt an ounce of sadness that little white girl was crying. I will say that.
No, I didn't. I didn't care that she was crying because my question is, what was her level of consciousness and awareness for her to even be crying about some people that she don't know talking on the street? You know what I mean? Like, did they pinch her to make her? You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody talk to the little girl. We don't even really know what. We don't even really know what it is that she was crying about, And Brother Bakari said Jesus called her a dog first. Jesus said, why should I take food from an Israelite mouth and give it to a dog? Right. And, That's cool. But like I said, what I would have felt better if they had, put it that way in an attempt to prove their point or whatever, but just randomly calling them dogs or whatever, like there wasn't need for that. But what was the level of consciousness of this child for her to even be aware that they was, talking about her? Like, you could do that to 100 other kids and not get that response because they're like, I'm not even worried about what they doing. I'm out with my two trusted adults. You know?
Yeah. Yo, that's true. That's true. But and my thing is though, like I react like when the brothers reacted when he was like, "Oh, what I'm gonna do? Feed him to an alligator?" You know what he was talking about. But like, the brothers was like, "Yo, oh Lord!" Like they even sound like, what I'm saying, sound like they clutch their pearls. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on with that?
Yeah. I don't think that, I know that he's, referring to things that happened to enslaved children, and all the way up into the late 1890s. That was continuing to happen. There's a museum at Ferris State that has a lot of those different tropes and different things like that up there. But, again, he is trying to get a reaction. They're putting on a show. And at the point that you accept and understand it's all about a show, then you have a different perspective of their version of spookism or their version of religious activities, because
And
is all that necessary because you can give people knowledge and understanding and help them get on the path of knowledge yourself without doing all that, without denigrating anybody. That's why I say I don't necessarily hate anybody. I hate the things people have done. I
right,
hate certain actions. I don't necessarily hate anybody. That's
right.
it's not my bag.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can co-sign that one. But I will also say that, when the Haitians say, we can let the Germans do whatever, the little kids go, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like they did have to kind of, you know what I'm saying, do what they had to do and treat them all as one. And I will also say, Khalid Muhammad was like, if you look at the Donahue show, whatever, he was like, you give them a time period, 48 hours, blah, blah, blah. You get the men, women, children, baby. He was like, why? Because, America gave them 24 hours to get whatever. Then they drop bombs on men, women, children, and babies. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I'm just saying, but
Well,
that's kind of a little extreme. So, they don't have to.
no, but that's what power does. Okay, so at the point that you say I rule this land now, like Vladimir Putin just said, I own these 4 new territories. They're mine. And if you have the power to back that up, that can be your reality.
Mm,
So my only thing is we don't live in a world where that's an African reality because we're still trying to adhere to a set of rules, thoughts, and ideas that we didn't agree to live by. But we're trying to live within the confines of them, which is why we're spooked out. I'll wait.
yeah. And I'm low key cheating right here because like I still haven't really even got to my question because this is the hard part right here. You're gonna have to explain for this one. So I'm gonna let you ask your question, but I'm gonna play this and then you ask your question. Then because I got a couple of questions in this scenario here alone. So I'm gonna play this, right? You know what I'm saying? This one might be a little bit tougher for you.
That's why we're out here to uplift our people. All right, Ella. So
Wait a minute. Uplift our people. I'm not all right. I'm gonna let it play. I'm
Who
not even.
is that? What is that?
He wanted to. He a Hebrew Israelite. He's. I guess his father must be black. And he subscribes to the one drop rule. It's a spooked out show. See, it's not all about religion and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a religious thing here personally, but it's not all about religion. Like the one drop rule is a little bit spooked out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not even like based in reality. Because what about the other parent? Like what the hell?
Yeah, that other parent is totally eradicated, and that their whole family line is just made null and void because you made a different decision sexually. Okay, whatever. I just
Right.
was wondering what he was though. What is that? Okay.
Well,
Go ahead.
these are some of the things spirituality and being spooked out has to account for, because I mean, you did welcome the pale faces like this pale face in with open arms from day one before any of this happened, because your spirituality and your love and your feel goodness said, oh yeah, you can love everybody and bring them on in because we're so spiritual. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there are things that you're gonna have to account for, and there's more stuff here. So let me just play it. I'm gonna try to bite my tongue and just write my questions down.
You tell me that you feel bad. You want to know what you can do? Are you sincerely are you sincerely remorseful?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe in the Bible, Ella? Whoa. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Do you believe in karma?
The Edomite.
Okay, cool. Let's deal with that. Right. Give me Isaiah 45 and 23. What is Isaiah 16 and 10 in the NLT? I would prefer that. Isaiah 16 and 14. I know it was one of those. Right. Shout out to New York, New Jersey for all the Isaiah 16 and 14 videos. Okay. Now, Najee, do you believe in karma? Do you believe in equality? So just to make sure that we understand each other, right? Let's say that my brother Coop, let's say he punches me in the face. Will be an equal action to that?
Equal action.
Correct.
If you hit him back.
Right. So he punches me, I should punch him back.
Right. No. I don't believe in that.
That's equality.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So you do not believe in equality?
Tick for tack, no.
Tit for tat, no. Do you believe in the Bible?
I do.
Okay, fantastic. And you say you also believe in what goes around comes around, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to build up to the main point, right? They've enslaved us, correct? Do you think God wants us to enslave them back?
No.
Okay, let me get Revelations 13.
Absolutely not. Why would God say that?
He's got those scriptures. He's got those scriptures. Give me not Isaiah, Revelation 13 and 10. I know you got 120 more seconds. 120, maybe a little more. Right? The book of Revelations, chapter 13, verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity
shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. The patience or the saints or whatever. I don't know the rest. I'm sorry.
So they have to go into captivity. Do you agree with the text?
Is that the old?
Nope, that's New Testament, baby.
That's New Testament, y'all. All right, my bad, y'all. So I'll let this. I don't know which one is the damn Edomite though, the questioner or the answerer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know their ideology, but they.
All right, I'm like, yo, which one is the damn Edomite here? But you heard that Revelation 13:10. I can get with Revelation 13:10. You know, he that leadeth into captivity must go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must.
You know what? I thought God don't want us to. He want us to turn the other cheek. I didn't know that he wanted us to get back revenge.
Fantastic.
Because you know God is a forgiving God, right? See, I'm not going. There's only one question. I'm gonna let you ask your question first, but it's like a whole lot of questions just from this alone. But
point. It's okay. Fantastic point. Now because that's Matthew 5 and 44, right? Curse them, bless them that curse you, right? Now the funny thing about that is he's actually quoting Lamentations 3.
Bless them that curse you, Matron.
Nah, the thing about any book is that you can pick up a part of that book and decide I'm gonna read from here and I'm only gonna do this part. And the one that could read was the one that did lead. And our leaders had often been trained by our enemy, by somebody that wanted to keep you in captivity. So they taught them to keep you lost in the story so that you will never gain knowledge of self. We live in a world of laws written and enforced by men. So, no. But you also have to take into account the fact that for us, that I don't hear very many people talking about, that most of us require a leader. Most of us require someone to show us the way, or we can spend a lifetime figuring it out on our own, and then our job is to try to tell others, right? Because there's a story about a Ethiopian eunuch that ran into somebody that had walked with Christ. And this Ethiopian eunuch was basically a, a servant that led the queen's army. And he said how the guy that walked with Christ, whose name was Philip, was like, do you understand what you're reading? And he was reading the Old Testament. And he said, how can I read it unless I have someone to teach me or to explain it to me? And that's true for most people. How can you understand what you're reading unless you have someone to interpret it for you? And that should wake people up, to let them know that the book is written in code and key and allegory and poetry and things like that. But instead, we'll just gladly give over 10% of our income and all of our free time and resources as a volunteer to build up a business and an entity that's not our own. And they never teach us that we're supposed to start our own businesses and define our own domain so that we can live the abundant life. Because the point of it all is to go into the earth or out in public so that you can get the resources and pull them into your private life to make your heaven on earth. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because nobody that has ever died has come back to tell us what's on the other side. Now we
That's what I
think
thought.
we think that we have answers and interpretations and things like that, but if you're not making a family and building something to pass on to those children, when you die, because no one will remember your story. We only remember the stories of the people that lived because they wrote books and there are stories about them. So the Bible is an attempt to integrate as many different groups of people. And that's why they keep saying, well, no, when they say the Amalekites, that was an entire group of people. When they say Gideon, that Gideon wasn't just one person, that was an entire town and village of people to integrate more people into the story.
Yeah, I could feel you on that. But like also it's something that you said that was is interesting though, but I'm not it's we taking too long on this part. It's only like 45 seconds and I'll play the rest so you can ask your next question.
In a prayer that Jeremiah is giving, right? And the context is of our people, because we go around hating each other so much, but loving everybody else.
That's right.
So we have to turn the other cheek to each other. But somebody who has enslaved us for 500 years, how could you possibly turn the other cheek to them? You know how many cheeks I would have to give them? And who did he say that to? Who was the audience there? Who crucified Jesus? Or
All right, I'm gonna stop it right there though. Man, Matron, there's a whole lot of questions. Forgiveness, letting everybody in the club. Even Revelations 13 and 10 is a whole lot of things, but I feel you, New Jersey, whatever. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Not, the reason that they teach us forgiveness is so that they can continue to treat us badly. There's a scripture that talks about, you forgive somebody 7 times 70 and all this other stuff, and it's supposed to be understood that the forgiveness that you extend is supposed to be unending. And perhaps that's true. But the book of Matron 1:1 says, forgiveness, which is my healing process, is given freely to all men. Restoration comes from the Lord, which is an object outside of myself, and I don't have to put you in a place where you can continue to harm me after I have done whatever I needed to do to heal myself from my encounter with you.
All right, okay. All right, so yeah, you can go ahead and go ahead to your next part.
All right. Do we have a working definition for spookism?
I think I don't want to be disrespectful or nothing, but Tanzan said it kind of believing in things that you don't understand, and superstition ain't the way.
Yeah, she put that down last night. You guys should make sure you check out her broadcast on Tanzan African Mind. So I think that spookism is the observance of rituals that you don't necessarily have an explanation for. But you may have an explanation for them. You may have forgotten the meaning, right? I think that, spookism is trying to always interpret everything that happens as some type of omen or message. Is everything a message, and is spookism the tool that we use to interpret our reality? Because that's how I define spookism. It's a tool that we use to interpret a reality that we've been forced into.
Yeah, I think is a tool we use to interpret an alternate reality. I do.
Okay. All right. I'm ready for your next question.
All right. And let me say this, because you were saying, because like, listen, we use spookism to allow other people in the club. We use spookism to allow us to forgive everybody. And this don't have nothing to do with Christianity, because you know what, you let them people come into your land before any of that stuff, because you were so spooked out and so spiritual or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I guess my next question would be like you heard the I don't know which one was Esau here, you know what I'm saying, but you heard Esau, he's here for our people. So like, what's going on with this spirituality and letting and being all love and letting everybody in the club? Like, you don't think that's a weakness when it comes to like your like black people's spirituality, like that hasn't devastated us for like the last like 700-800 or 2,000 years?
Yes, it is. I think that anytime you have an image of salvation that does not look like you have turned over yourself to forever be a slave. Your image of salvation has to look like you. Um, that's why things like mixed couples or, having white pastors over black churches, or having people that are not representative of the people, is dangerous for the people, because people that don't have time to sit down and think about something are going to try to emulate and recreate what they see. What we see is what we do. And so, yes, I think that this is toxic for our people. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the thing that is continuing to lead to our devastation, you know what I'm saying? Because we're so spooked out, we'll believe in things that's not even true, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure if we open it up and Bakari's still awake, you know what I'm saying? He probably sleep or whatever. But like he's talking about, even in medical field, we don't listen to black doctors or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And we try to create other identities and all of these other things, because like, we that is the thing that we continue to do, like and then we let other people define words for us, we let other people define ideologies for us, you know what I'm saying, instead of taking it into your own hands and making it mean what you mean to you. Like, I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but I think that spooked out makes you susceptible and weak, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, you know what I'm saying, like there is a place for linear thinking and understanding. And sometimes the spooked out thing is all will get you caught up, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody else is not as loving and caring as you. So
Do you think that by and large we are all quote unquote spooked out, and that we need to have benevolent people at the top so that we can remain spooked out and in safety?
Wait, I'm sorry. What's the second part again?
Do you think that we need to have benevolent leaders at the top organizing our spooked outedness, our spookism, so that we can remain spooked out in safety, comfortable?
Um, See, this is the slippery slope that I always be talking about. I think, yes, we are all generally spooked out at this point, you know what I'm saying? Myself included, you know what I'm saying? And not all spooked out is bad, you know what I'm saying? But some of it is, because like, yo, I was listening to something earlier while before this, you know what I'm saying? A dude was saying, yo, in my village or whatever, my grandparent was the person who talked to the God. This was before the missionaries came to his particular place. This was his story, you know what I'm saying? His grandparent or their grandparent was the particular person that spoke to the gods, you know what I'm saying? But then when the Christians came, the white people came, he became a Christian. And the thing was, they said if somebody come into this hut or whatever, I don't think it was a hut, like it was something that he said particularly, you know what I'm saying? He said something like that. But if somebody come into this place where he was at, then they would die, And so the dude became like his son, like the dude's father became a Christian, and he was like, yo, the power of Jesus Christ is enough to overtake this, you know what I'm saying? So when he walked in there and then died, because their spooked out beliefs really believe that if somebody came out and died, now it made him like, so now the son came in, he was like, well, the power of Jesus Christ is more. And this is the person who could talk to the guys who's saying, I'm going to transfer to Christianity because Jesus is more powerful than our ancestors, you know what I'm saying? And then I hear a lot of them saying, our ancestors, worshiping our ancestors is evil. And the only thing that kind of helped me was praising Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And they literally said Jesus, even though we all know that that's not the right word, So I would say my ancestors before that, for me, even the tree, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, like that lady that thanked God or thanked whatever she was giving praise to for being a crackhead that's reformed now, and that uh thank God for slavery because now she knows Jesus, or else she would be in Africa worshiping a tree, has a misunderstanding of divinity and deity and creation. Watching a tree, you can learn things. You know what I mean? We are an observant people, always seeking to interpret our reality or the reality that we find ourselves in. Sometimes all you need to understand is a tree and how it grows, and to read the rings, to remember when the last famine was and about how long it'll be before another famine comes, so that you can continue to feed your family and know when to move to the highlands and to the lowlands, and whether or not the rainy season is going to flood you out. And outsiders that are observing God every day, trying to interpret it with their lens, are telling you that they worshiped trees. But we live in a world where white people have all types of fetishes that they try to force on us. Their saints, their holy high days, their money, their books, their ideology, their indoctrination. They demand that we give our children to them by the age of 6 to enter into their educational institutions. So I think that they are more spooked out than we are. They just call it something else.
Yeah. And it's your question, but I want to say this thing real quick, you know what I'm saying? Because and yesterday, right? And this is what I mean by like the ability to say I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like yesterday when Azuli brought up the thing about speaking to a tree, and I was like, yo, I asked the tree a question and I got an answer right now. Like, yo, it was a hot day, and I was like, yo, let me sit under this tree. And then I thought to myself, like, yo, your trees can't move, like whether it's raining, it's hot, or whatever, they have to be there. And I was just looking like, yo, and I was like, yo, how can you just stand there? Like, I'm glad I can move. Like, how can you just stand there? Now, the thought that popped in my head afterwards was like, yo, when life, like when you stand still, life comes to you. You know what I'm saying? Now, like a tree is a living thing. It could have been sending energy to me. It could have been God talking to me. It could have been just my brain, like thinking of stuff like, yo, like things that I've heard in the past, and then my conclusions on things, and it's just a thought that popped in my head. So I can say that I don't know. I can say which one I'm leaning more towards, but at the end of the day, I don't know. So, but it's your question though.
So do you think, the title of the show is Are We Spooked Out? When you think about us being spooked out, are we more spooked out than they are, which is why they document us doing things like, ritual sacrifice or actual sacrifice and animal sacrifice and things like that? Or are they more spooked out than we are when they commit things like mass genocide and gentrification and raising interest rates and organizing the money system, all doing these things on auspicious days?
I would say I think that they are more spooked out than we are, but they are spooked out in a way that is beneficial towards them. Like they think that black people really gonna do to them what they done to us, but black people really just want to be loved, you know what I'm saying? But the threat or the thought of that, you know what I'm saying, just that being scared of that is gonna make them do anything that it can to maintain their position. And you won't even do what you can to maintain your position, and I think that like they have used all of these things, but even before that, like when it became to like taking people's land with the doctrine of discovery, if they don't believe in my God, then you can take their land, and like right now, like they sit there and argue about multi-universe, the universe is the matrix. How in the hell would they possibly know that? This is them guessing, and I'm telling you this, you know what I'm saying? Like if you can ask a bunch of questions and they can't tell you, but they will speak it like it's facts, and people believe it like it's facts, even though they say a lot of misinformation. And the only way you'll know that is if they talk about a subject that you know really well, and then you'll be like, yo, that was a damn lie. I know that's not true. You know what I'm saying? And they use that spooked out thing to their advantage, and we use it to our disadvantage, So, but I will also say we are the more Arab than Arabs, more more whatever than any other people, you know what I'm saying? We are more of that thing, you know what I'm saying, than them. So I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. I think that we articulate our interpretation of reality in a more cryptic way than they do, because they really are the primitive people. You have some people that call them cave beasts. Just saying. Um, and I think that we more artfully articulate our spooked out perspectives in a way that is more cryptic and is more difficult for people to understand the reality behind them. Our money says in God we trust, and we know that it's fiat. We talk about this all the time, but every day we convince ourselves to go to a job to work hours in order to make more money. And we treat those people with a level of decency and respect that we won't extend to the people that we live in the house with, or to our children that have gone wayward. But this company that we know is exploiting us, that we know is just using us up for their material benefit to back up their fake currency, we give them more deference and preference than we give to our own people. And I think that is the problem with us being spooked out, like you said, is that we believe their stuff more than they do.
Facts. And I want to get back to reading all the comments. New Jersey, whatever said, and no disrespect, but he said spookism is the desire for black people to have more power outside this world because we don't have power in this world. because we fail to understand the ugly reality of how it works. Power does not care about moral compass. And and I read that because I say this, right and wrong, good and bad, that's really about perspective. And we are the ones that determine right or wrong, good and bad. But we let this, and this is why I support Matron, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand how she wants to use it to empower yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because when you say religion, I know you get it from somewhere else, but when you say religion, it's the quickest way to Black people's mind and being spooked out. It really is, I'm not going to deny that. But good and like our spooked out is like good and like, yo, this is good, this is bad, being for all people, this is right, this is wrong, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that this person killed my mom, but I don't want them to rot in prison for 10 years. I want to hug them while they're on the stand. This is spirituality. I don't know if that dude that hugged that white girl was a Christian or not, but that was Black spirituality all day. You know what I'm saying? But it's your question.
Oh, so okay. So if we're spooked out and if they're spooked out, do you think that science is also a form of spookism? Because you were saying that they come up with these theories and ideas, right? And they promote them as if they're reality and as if they're the truth. So do you think that science, quote unquote science, is also a form of spookism?
Um, the way people use it, they throw spookism in it. The way I understand it is supposed to be the study of nature. You know what I'm saying? I would say I trust science in the fact that I would get on a computer right now and I know that the internet is working and stuff like that. But there are things that I do that is outside of science, like even doing the lives, this is why I'd be like, I can't do it at a certain time because I have to have a certain energy. And then before I even come on here, I say, like, let me do, and I think of as many of people who died and who fought and who dedicated their lives doing for the things that like I'm trying to do, like, like Ida B. Wells and so many, so many people to name, what I'm saying, Carter G. Woodson, a lot of people, and I say that I hope that I'm doing them justice, but and it's like science can explain when the right time is to do something, and I kind of go by that too. But and people use science, like the Germans use science to try to prove racism and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I think they kind of prove the opposite, but I think it can be used as spookism, but I think it's also important when it comes to like medicine and, just basic things every day. You know what I'm saying? And, but science is wrong when science is wrong. That's what I'm saying. And not everything can be explained by science either. So,
I think that science and spookism have a lot more in common than we think. I think that again, spookism is a tool of interpretation for your reality. And science is a tool of interpretation for your reality. It's just that with science, we say something and then we go about testing it. Versus with spookism, something has happened. It's like reactionary. It's like something has happened or we experience something, and then we explain and define the phenomena with spookism. Or we have like rituals. Rituals are a big part of spookism. And I think that rituals are reminders for things that we're supposed to do or, fundamental truths and lessons that we're supposed to know, learn, and understand. But we stopped giving meaning or explaining the meaning of the ritual, but we kept doing the ritual because we thought that that would give us power. Because we can't wrap our minds around the idea that we live in a world of laws and that that's the only thing that really matters is who has the power to enforce or not enforce the laws.
yeah, that's the truth. And like, and this is the thing, what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to like science and spirituality, it was this show called The 100. And this kind of helped me to understand it a little bit better. I'm gonna be honest, like when I was young, going to churches, I never like, it'd be hype in the church, in black churches. Y'all know how it be, but I never felt like, if I don't, I'm saying, dedicate my life to this, I'm going to hell or whatever they say. I just never was drawn to that. Maybe I was just too naive, but it was the show called The 100, what I'm saying, where you know, the earth kind of had it was like they had a nuclear war, and then a lot of people was getting sick or whatever, and the only people who can go outside was the black bloods. Now they worship this symbol because it meant to keep them alive, what I'm saying? But then when people who actually knew about science, they was like, well, it's just that their body, formed or whatever to the atmosphere, and we can actually produce more stuff to help more people live to the atmosphere. But the people who was just there was just like worshiping the people who can go outside as the king, and they wasn't thinking on the science level. They was thinking on this kind of spiritual level. And I think, I think both of them have a marriage that can go together. But I think that the science can explain everything. But I think that if you kind of go away from that, then there's a problem. So
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Did you have a question for me?
yeah, because I wanted to go to the net, but I have to ask you this because this is one of the greatest problems. You know what I'm saying? Now, in that first video with the white girl kissing the feet, you know what I'm saying? Now he was like, "This is one of the good white people." You know what I'm saying? She's forgiven in the eyes of the Lord. And this turn the other cheek thing that we have going on here, you know what I'm saying? Now, I really think that because it's not even just Christianity, Muslims, whatever, because it's atheists that'll look at somebody else and be like, oh, I forgives you. Now, we sick, I forgives you. I know you didn't, what I'm saying, killed my mama, but, it's all good. Even if we in the church now, what I'm saying, I'm gonna forgive you, even though the dude was saying, yo, I did this for a race war, but I forgive you. So, like, explain this spirituality and forgiveness stuff, Matron.
Nah, forgiveness, again, just going back to a real simple premise, concept, and understanding. Forgiveness is so I don't have to sit there thinking about what I need to do to you, right? Restoration is me allowing you and putting you back in a place to do that same thing to me. Justice is me actively pursuing a solution that prohibits you from doing that to me or anyone I care about ever again. So those are very different concepts in the spiritual world that I walk in,
But
because
Matron, I can't let you get away with this one now, because
okay.
like now, besides, there's like I was gonna say name one, but there's probably like a handful that you can name that didn't have this forgiveness spirituality. This was before Christianity, the Bible, and all of this. You know what I'm saying? So except for with their own people, which is interesting. But I'm just saying,
Okay. You know, in a book called Arabian Kinship, they talk about something called a blood oath, right? And a blood oath is when they define how they're going to meter out or deal out justice within the group. So if you do something against someone in that community, then that community deals with you. If you do something against someone else's community, then your community comes together and decides if they're going to punish you or if they're going to let the other community punish you. And if they don't let the other community punish you, that could bring about war. And so, this idea of the blood oath is something that they use in an attempt to bring about justice and keep peace within their society. So, I think that we don't have enough blood oaths.
But don't you think that's because we're so spiritual and loving and forgiving and truth
Spirituality?
out?
No. I think that I think that unfortunately what has happened is we would like to live in a world of peace and in a just world. But more and more we realize that we don't. You got to remember, there were, the deacons for defense. There were armed people at the churches. But as we and as the leaders of many of these organizations and institutions sought to have an audience with white pastors and white congregations, they decided that they would water down the message. And in watering down the message, one man might have got more money because now he could get an honorarium, or he could get into a new club, or he and his family could receive some type of material benefits. But that's not what that's about at all. Again, forgiveness is so that I can be okay and not drive myself crazy thinking about what I want to do to you. But I don't have to restore you to a place and a position where you can do that same harm to me. And I have a responsibility to seek out justice to prohibit you from doing that thing to me and anyone else I care about again.
Yo, I feel you. I feel you. It just seems like black people are the opposite of that. But yo, it's your question,
Well, I want to talk about Bwana Hagaziki's question. He said, does anyone on the panel believe in hell? And I don't believe in a Judeo-Christian hell. And because I'm not living the life that I imagine for myself and my future generations, I'm living in hell. And and it is my goal to make enough sacrifices and offerings and building of relationships and institutions and entities so that my future generations will live in a heaven of my creation.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because I would say that is more of a state of mind kind of thing too. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bring my 5% out for you, Botswana. You know what I'm saying? Heaven and hell is a state of mind, my brother. Nah, I'm joking. But I agree with what Matron said. But just to make it more spooked out, I'll tell you my beliefs, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if like heaven or hell, like I even believe even some more crazier than what I'm about to say, but like I wouldn't rule out reincarnation, you know what I'm saying, coming back as somebody else, something else, you know what I'm saying, like a living thing. When my grandma passed, I wouldn't be surprised if another baby right now, you know what I'm saying. So I wouldn't be surprised, but the quote unquote answer is nobody knows, because it's everybody except for Jesus. Jesus did come back, Matron. So I know you said nobody came back, but Jesus came back, of course. But
Nobody. Okay. All right. You know that Jesus, I go to my primitive Christianity. Jesus is just us. Okay? Just us producing justice. So I have an entirely different conception of what those words that they strewn together on the pages mean. So, but okay, he came back. I think that that allegorical message is about the fact that you see the pain and the strife and the struggle that others have gone through, whether it's the nails on his hand or different things like that. Um, I don't think that that's about an actual person that was raised from the dead. I don't. I think that that's about understanding that someone before you paid a price you don't want to pay. You don't want to sacrifice your life dreams and goals and things like that to have to fight and die. So be good, as Koku would say. Be kind, build something, have healthy relationships, define your family. Those are the lessons that we need to take away, especially in these times where we don't know how to have healthy relationships with each other. Everybody's trying to tear everything down and break everything because there's a lot of hurt people out there. So it's just me.
yeah, facts. All right, I'm gonna go to the next question because I want to put the link in the chat soon, but I kind of want to get through the rest of our questions because it's great questions from Matron. She got some really great questions, and I got a lot of questions too, like Revelations 13:10, there's a lot more questions. Like with the sisters talking about, to turn the other cheek and all of this other stuff. But I'm gonna go to the next thing here, because this is another very, very bad, sick kind of thing that we are in here. So speaking of spooked out, y'all know about y'all white Jesus here.
Tangazo tulioni hili ya kwamba Yesu ameingia kiseriani.
Oh man.
Clay, what's up? Be healed. Born, rise.
What the hell is going on here?
A light that hideth underneath the basket.
What the hell? All right, I don't even need to see no more of this, Matron. What the hell?
Right, please stop. But they putting on a show. They are putting on a show. Okay. That is, I don't have a lot of information and context because I don't know nobody that was there, but it looks like they were putting on a show to demonstrate and to convert the people that didn't believe that this is Jesus. And that's crazy to me, that they would do something like that. But maybe, and that they're probably collecting money from all those droves of people that were there, just throwing money at the white Jesus that came to visit them. And they have the feeling that they're special because white Jesus came.
Now, Matron, because I'm gonna skip it though, because I was gonna play the damn Good Times thing with the black Jesus, you know what I'm saying, just to prove a point, you know what I'm saying. But my thing is, and it's not just with the white Jesus, it's with, Abraham Lincoln being black, you know what I'm saying. All of these things that we tend to say, you know what I'm saying, if we identify as white, then we'll be saved, you know what I'm saying. You know how I feel about the John Brown syndrome. That's what I call it, you know what I'm saying? Because John Brown was definitely fake, y'all, and this is a part of Spooked Out, Matron, that, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I get that there's strengths, but there's also a lot of weaknesses going on here when you can have a white dude that has that. First of all, you think, and I'm not even trying to make fun of them, because when I went to church when I was little, it was a white dude that looked just like him on the stained glass windows, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm just trying to figure things out here when it comes to, like, Spooked Out. There's, like, the I don't know, the scales seem to be tilting kind of against you now, Matron. I don't know what's going on.
Well, wait. Well, let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask you, and then you can ask me a question. Is there a way to elevate people's consciousness or to get them to think greater and bigger without spookism? Like to get them to organize, to get them to organize themselves and live better lives without spookism.
I do think there is. I think that you can with spookism, and let me be clear with that. But I think that you can do that without spookism. I thought that you could, you know what I'm saying? I thought that recognizing our children was in danger, that's not spookism, that's real life, you know what I'm saying, would be enough. But obviously it's not, because we so spooked out in the first place, you know what I'm saying? I think that organizing on sound principles is effective, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying there's not a place for Spooked Out, but what I'm saying is, like, being with laws, like you're saying, with laws that is enforced by men, I think that there has to be a more practical thing that's not as spooked out when it comes to that,
Right, but why would I listen to you? What incentive or what reason would I have to make you the king or you the leader of my life? Why? What reason do I have if I'm not spooked out?
because I control the food and the damn water and the whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it takes. That's why we
Well, then
not
you making the white man God. Then you're making the white man the leader because he controls the food and the water. And if he controls the food and the water, then I just need to go be with him because I can grow my own food and I can go and work in public and go get my own water.
you
So
can. And then you would
so
be in control. And then when you can offer that to more people who, because I'm not saying you would do that, but I understand that because we're gonna go back to my spooked out thing with the 85% here. The 85%er is going to go to work and go home and watch TV and not give a damn about none of this because they know that when Sharif Adura he speak up or even Nick Cannon speak up, black people is not going to be there to hold them down. You know what I'm saying? But if you're there to offer them, like, you know, like people was like, yo, like when we had this conversation, people are like, why you gotta pay black people to do something? It's not paying them to do anything. But to get somebody to quit a job, you know what I'm saying, you have to be there with something that is just as effective, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to be spooked out to offer you health care or ability to whatever or to make water. But you know, it's the people that's aware already working together. And I think that leaving our but like I can't say leaving our because I get what you're saying because you're saying use it as a tool, you know, but like the way that we've been using it to separate ourselves, I'm saying we leave it at the door because like controlling our water in Alabama, I don't care if they're ADOS, I don't care if they're Christian, I don't care if they're Muslim, you know what I'm saying, I don't care, you know what I'm saying, anything but they're black, you know what I'm saying, to help them, you know. So, you know.
okay, so since flat blackness has not been a unifier for us, right? What can be the unifier for us because we don't trust each other. We have been trained to not trust each other. We have been trained to believe that we are incompetent and that we can't run anything. We have been trained to only organize around church and drugs or, trash culture. So, what could organize us
And let me
if
say
it's
this.
not spookism? If it's not spookism,
Okay,
because
so
we ain't nobody splitting the pole.
and let me say this before I answer, you know what I'm saying? This is why I'm grateful that I met you, you know what I'm saying? Because like when you saying that, you know, spookism is the quickest way, that's the $1 million question. I asked my brother MG2 this, how to get black people just to stop hating each other. That's the first part, you know what I'm saying? And that was the $1 million question. And then, you know, I met you and then you know, you brought it up, you know, with what you saying with spookism, you know what I'm saying? But yo, ask the question one more time. I'm sorry.
That's okay. How do we find what principles do we organize ourselves around? Because flat
Oh
blackness
yeah.
isn't working. We don't trust one another. So if it's not spookism, what's the organizing principle?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying, yo. First and foremost, you know, I thought that, you know, what's going on with our children would have been enough, but obviously it's not. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I personally is like, yo, I teeter on this thing, but like I would push the button because I think that's what it would take to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? For us to put aside our whatever, because and this is the thing I try to get about people with like not to disrespect Marcus Garvey, you know what I'm saying, because he did way more things than me. And like, yo, he was like an icon. But what I'm saying is times was different at that time, you know, where he could go to a black hospital, a black grocery store. We dealing with the illusion of inclusion where we are super, super comfortable with whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And I personally think that it would take like let's be real, you know what I'm saying, like somebody getting off, like them actually doing what they plan on doing in our communities, and then we'll be like, yo, like we got to get together to like, yo, not exterminate. I kind of think that's where we are, but I can give you a PC answer too.
Now I want the real answer. I want if you think that because see, saving our children didn't help because they sacrificed a generation to protect themselves. That's what the 1994 crime bill did. And all the civil rights leaders and Black politicians signed on to it. They were begging the white man to help them, save them from these wayward children that had been created in their communities because they weren't turning over jobs and opportunities to the young, and they weren't training them, and they had put them into a system, into a educational system, in a society, and a set of processes that was only going to try to criminalize them and demonize them. So they sacrificed a generation, if not more, but at least one generation of kids. So no, they don't even have a self-preservationist bone in their body, but they'll organize around other principles, the spookism per se, whether it's scientific or religious.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the problem is, with us, we kind of don't. Like, we organize around the opposite. We tell our children to keep our head down, and then when we get to heaven, everything will be okay. You know what I'm saying? You'll be with God and you'll get to sit on the throne. We're not. And we are going to have to sacrifice ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Not the next generation. I personally think it's the generation, like children who born tomorrow may have a chance, but we're so spooked out that children born today is done because they already been indoctrinated, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that, go ahead, Matron. Yeah, go ahead.
Nah, the children born today aren't done because guess what? You have children born 20, 30, and sometimes 40 years ago that have yet to be activated because there's no place for them to go, because there's nothing that explains these old books and these old texts in a way that makes sense to them. That's why the church is dying, because it's not functioning the way it's supposed to function, because it's supposed to make men. And all of these institutions are unfortunately dying or being totally infiltrated and co-opted by non-Black people because they don't function the way. They just become another tool for white people to use to continue to subjugate Black people. And some of our historical institutions, unfortunately, have white people in positions of power. That's why, as Black people, we need to reclaim our organizations and institutions. And it starts with our religion or spirituality, because again, religion is an economy organizing tool. Spirituality is something else.
Yeah, I can agree with religion and spirituality is two different things. But I'm just saying, like, and I just say the children born today, like at the pace that we're on, I'm just judging by the pace that we're on, because we on the internet, instead of talking about well, we are trying to learn a new language with Tanzania, you know what I'm saying, which is Swahili. But instead of creating a new language, we're arguing about where we come from, Pan-Africanism versus indigenous, or gender wars and stuff like this. This is what the children are inheriting. And I'm in a generation right now. We are in a generation right now that is in control, and this is the world that we are inheriting down to them. And it don't look like there is a clear sign for change beyond something beyond our whatever. So that's why I would push the button, you know what I'm saying, today, you know what I'm saying? And then I think we'll have a chance,
What is pushing the button today look like to you? And then I'm gonna ask my last question after that. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, you could. You can take as much time as you want. When I say push the button, I would say if I was in control of the nuclear stuff, I would push the buttons and it'd be like a Mad Max world type stuff right now. We have to start from scratch pretty much, is what I'm saying. But I have faith in us, you know what I'm saying? It's just sometimes that's how I feel.
Okay. Okay. And then give me one. And then my last question is, since science, in my perspective, can be a form of spookism, and spookism is an organizing principle per se, along with some other things, what is it that you think people can or should do today to make a better tomorrow?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think that you should do and this will get to kind of spookism kind of thing, whatever you feel is the thing, that whatever it tells you to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, the thing that you feel most passionate about, that you feel like the world is missing, that somebody needs to do, you have to be the one that does that. You know what I'm saying? And especially in our community now, it would be great if we had a Black only mindset when we did this. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like creating a school is the most important thing, I think that you should go out and do that, creating a hospital, becoming a doctor, or whatever that thing is, because we all have our individual roles. You know what I'm saying? I say the Black Messiah, the Black Messiah is Black unity, not an individual person. And it's all of us playing our roles. So I think that you following, but I get that we born out of trauma. That's the issue, so. But whatever you think that is most missing, I think that you should dedicate yourself to that and create it. So
I can't afford to do that. I can't quit my job. I can't do this. But I'm going to tell you, I agree with you 100%. I say, the way that I say that is, we are tasked to produce in this world the thing we most need in this world. Because we all need something. And if Black people came together and began producing the thing that they most need, and the first thing that we all need is a functioning family, which is why the man, woman, child iconography works so well. And I talked to a Catholic one time that told me that's what the Illuminati triangle stands for. So that gives you some new insight into that symbology. But anyway, so, if you take it that the triangle means man, woman, child, and the family is the first thing that we need, and then that family has to be able to provide for itself, you should be teaching your children how to grow their own food and how to purify water and how to gather and collect things and how to go to a job that is just work for today. And then give them something inheritable in the future, like a business that meets a material need in your community.
Yeah, facts. And Raw mentioned that earlier with the man, woman, and child being like they say the Holy Trinity, the man, the Holy Ghost, and the Spirit, or something like that.
It's homosexual because it's been Greekanized, whatever, anglicized, because how is it that how is it that, quote unquote, God is a man, Jesus is a man, the Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit is also male? And they went and got an earthly woman, right, to try to procreate with. And she had a man. So, and even in the Bible, Eve talks about God gave me a man. And this is that. Like, come on now. Like, no, it's about being able to build a family, being able to build. That's the first thing that we all need. And that's the first thing we should all be focused on building and doing. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ask your question then.
No, you're absolutely right. I agree with that. And I agree, the Holy Trinity, the man, woman, and child, you know what I'm saying? The family structure. And then you build your family, you build your neighborhood, you build your community, you build your city, you build your state, you build your nation, and you'll have an army or a nation to protect you. And that's the only way that you'll have respect in this world. And the truth is, if somebody smack you, the only way to get justice is to smack them back. You know what I'm saying? To make sure they don't do it again. It is what it is, And that's the real world that we live in, not the spooked out one. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, all right. So my last question, and then I'm gonna put the link in the chat. If somebody want to come on, they might be too spooked out to come on here, Tanzania. I mean, not Tanzania. My bad. Learning curve.
Yeah, stop picking on Tanzania. Stop. I told y'all, she'll say it. I'll get loud with you. I ain't that civilized. I don't have that good Kenyan education. Education.
That's what we need, though. We need that turned up stuff. Like, this is what it is right now. But all right, Matron, because I'm kind of letting you off the hook here, because the spooked out stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like it's been 800 years. We've been spooked out for a very, very long time. You know what I'm saying? We gave up our ancestors because they so evil and all of this stuff for Jesus and stuff. And he's on the main line, of course, so. But let me play this, and then you can stop these two videos, and then we're gonna open up the chat.
segment where we put a spotlight on underreported issues in the communities of color across the Charlotte area. Religion, a big part of many cultures, but especially in the African-American community. Wake Up Charlotte's Billy Jean Shaw says more and more folks are practicing it in a less traditional way.
Their life matters.
Religion is known to form the foundation of the Black community, especially in the South, the Bible Belt, where church just isn't a place, it's a lifestyle. That's exactly how R.S. Cole grew up.
My aunt was a pastor. My grandmother was on the usher board, so they kept me in a Christian faith.
A recent study by Pew Research shows 8 in 10 African Americans self-identify as Christians. But now, more and more younger African Americans say they're not affiliated with just one religion.
There was just so much more to me than what the box that I...
Now, Matron, I thought that was against Christianity.
Whew. Time for a new interpretation, I guess.
God is jealous now. There's no other way to interpret that.
Well, no, that's not true, because it doesn't say that you can, and this is something that I've had many discussions about. It doesn't say that you can't interact with other things and other faiths. It says, thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Before who?
Well, if you're talking to Matron, then it's me. But,
okay.
but for them, it's talking about for them it's talking about the God in the sky, the creation, the God of all creation.
All right, but outside of us and everybody in this chat room, who is it? Outside of who? For Black people, I mean, generally.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It should be thou shalt have no other gods before Black people, but but that ain't it. That ain't the revelation.
Oh man. All right.
I felt that they couldn't find me in.
That's when Cole opened the door to spiritual readings, meeting Boots Durango.
How you doing, baby?
A celebrity tarot card reader.
I'm sorry, y'all. This was really the only video that they had to put this in there. It's not my doing, I promise you. But yo, that is a part of Spooked out here, because
Charlotte.
With a question or a concern from a client, I do get inklings, I do get intuitive feelings.
Boots discovered his gift before the age of 8.
This might be a product or something on the side that we want to work with.
And even though he was raised on Christian beliefs in the church, his family embraced his...
How the hell is let's just skip the LG whatever part.
Well, they have their religion and they believe that they are divine and they reach back to ancient texts that talk about twin spirits, and they have their own set of beliefs and ideas and ideologies, and that's why they keep trying to encroach upon the divinity of the man, woman, and child, coming into Christian spaces saying we must now also rule this space. But anyway.
Why they supposed to be stoned? Ain't that the truth? In the text. Okay. Right. In the text, fire and brimstone came on them. They're the ones that go to they're the ones that go to the creation of hell, because they were so wicked and so lascivious that instead of even accepting women that were this man's children, which he tried to sacrifice to the angry mob, they wanted the men, the men who were in the form of the angels who were in the form of men, because they wanted to be perverted. So yeah. So we're gonna skip past that, because y'all, and I know that has nothing to do with you, because my question for them would be, why would you even want to be a part of something that they don't even want you in? It is what it is.
Because I've talked to these people. As a matter of fact, years ago I had a conversation with an Episcopalian lesbian minister who was petitioning for a church in her community so that she could, promote her message. And they want recognition and they want place because they feel that they have a right to be there. And they are trying to continue to pervert the priesthood by being in places of position and power. And a lot of times Christians justify putting people that shouldn't be in leadership by saying, well, the book say it's going to be wickedness in high places, without taking responsibility and accountability for bringing down the wickedness that's in
Right.
high places.
Yeah, ain't the person people who put them there get in trouble too? Like, what the hell? That don't make sense. But yo, this is really supposed to be about young people turning away from the church, you know what I'm saying, and going towards other things, you know.
African American women who have turned away from traditional religion. New research shows Black millennials are turning to more spiritual practices, a sacrificial choice for many.
And I can tell you that I've probably lost 50% of my family, and I'm comfortable with that.
Boots says a common
All
misconception.
right, so I'm gonna stop it right there. But she lost her family because she stopped being a Christian. And I'm gonna play a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna ask my question. Then I'll put the link in the chat.
Numbers of African American women in Maryland and across the nation are leaving traditional church worship. All of them are in search of something else, a spiritual belief that connects them to their ancestors and where they can feel more empowered to control their own well-being. They have found it in ancient forms of spiritual contact. Some call it witchcraft, a term they accept and embrace. For most of us, this is how we worship, a tradition that predates us all. This, too, is an ancient art of worshiping, not to God the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, but to spirits and deities that span the oceans and date back to pre-slavery days in Africa. Are you, in fact, witches?
Whatever the situation calls for. So if you come to me with pleasantries, you being respectful, you'll get Glinda, the good witch of the suburbs. But if you come at me with negativity and meanness and disrespect, then you'll get Eveline.
Yeah, that sounds like Black spirituality to me.
Your worst nightmare.
Well, if they're Black, of course. I'm sorry, y'all.
They have many names and titles and ranks within their belief system. They are college-educated professional women who've chosen to believe that theirs is a truer example of worship that is inclusive of the genders. It connects them, they say, to their ancestors and fills a need not found in traditional worship, though most of them grew up in the church.
I was raised Christian, all Christians in my family. In fact, my grandfather was a preacher in the South.
I also grew up Christian. I grew up Anglican in the Episcopal Church. The older I got, the more disconnect I felt.
I was raised Baptist. My father is a deacon. My mom a deaconess. I was in church all the time.
These women are part of a sect, Ile Ola Afefe Osa Meji, spiritual temple. They worship and offer prayers to Oshun, a predominant deity.
She's the deity or the Orisha of aesthetics, beauty, sex, sensuality.
There are growing numbers of African American women who have chosen for themselves a new life, leaving the church in search of more meaning in their lives. And yet,
all right, so yeah, Black women, the backbone of the church. More of them are leaving the church. Young Black women, young Black men that probably been out the church for like years. But yo, I'm not gonna call it superstitious because apparently it's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? But with this, you know, my question is, and I'm not gonna talk trash because you turn it up every time I start talking trash or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But my question would be, you know what I'm saying? If you want to leave a religion, why do you have to have something else there to replace it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to tell somebody got to tell you how to eat, how to live, how to use the bathroom. Like, really? Like, or you can't think for yourself, really? But yeah, why do you have to have something else?
Because people ultimately need relationships. I know you've been in a church where they said, turn to your neighbor, take your neighbor hand, tell your neighbor this, turn to your other neighbor.
Say, neighbor, I love you.
Yes.
And tomorrow I'm like,
yes. And so the whole point, because one of the things that you said, that you pointed out, is that was a group of all women. There were no men there, right? And again, the church at one point in time used to feel that need, okay? It used to foster authentic relationships for people, and they would go out and make more families and be fruitful and multiply because it was somebody in your age grade that you could connect with there. But the church has failed to do that. The church has failed to assimilate people into a community and into a society because it's all about the show. It's all about the performance and the enrichment of one or two people at the very top because everybody else is a volunteer giving up their money, time, blood, sweat, and tears to ensure that this entity continues to go on. And again, they're not even interpreting the book in a way that's empowering for the mass of our people.
Yeah, and but that's kind of the point though, like and why would they? And then that's what I'm saying, and this need to have to follow somebody else is like ridiculous. I don't
But the
understand it.
Ethiopian, I told you about the Ethiopian is a proxy for Black people because other people groups saw themselves as part of the story, and the Ethiopian specifically was told about and talked about. And what the Ethiopian did is the Ethiopian, quote unquote, performed rituals based on his understanding in the story. He said, look, here's water. Can I be baptized here? And he did these rituals and these different things, but he had no real deep understanding because our people need to be led, shown, and told the truth. And they just want peace. And unfortunately, what we have done or what has continued to happen is people have continued to put our people to sleep with bread and circuses and shows and demonstrations and pretty empowering words and getting them lost in all types of stories and narratives without taking care of them. And the world is becoming more and more oppressive and more harsh, and no one is stopping to take care of our people.
Yeah,
How you
and
doing, Brother Bakari?
yeah, and Bakari. Well, you usually say Bakari, so it's really gonna be probably you saying Bakari. But before you say something, Bakari, and I know Matron gonna probably save you here. You know what I'm saying? But I know you're trying to save her, but y'all just gonna probably crash into each other. But
yeah, you the one needs saving, but go ahead.
All right, so listen, my thing is though, Matron, like, cause you kind of avoided that one a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The whole point was though, you know what I'm saying, why do they need somebody to tell them how to use the bathroom? I know Bakari needs somebody to tell him how to use the bathroom.
Oh my God.
Why do people need somebody to tell them how to use? Oh, well, you know what I'm saying, you got to do it this way. You got, you know what I'm saying, you can't go outside on Sundays. You know what I'm saying, you got to have this on your head. I don't need somebody to tell me that. And are you telling me that Black people really need somebody to tell them and sell them this dream that, you know what I'm saying, you got to wear a turban on Sundays? You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to do to free people. Man.
We might have to do that to get their attention, but then we have to tell them the true message. Again, religion is supposed to serve the need of building relationships, of building economies. So at your church, there's supposed to be somebody that you go to for your cakes or your dinners or your tailor or your printer, your publisher, or your doctor, your dentist, or your carpenter, your landscape. Those people are supposed to be there. Okay. And you're supposed to be able to find somebody that's in this institution that thinks about things a little bit like you do so that you can go and build a family and build a business that is then profitable and able to go out to the public marketplace. So no, we don't necessarily need anyone to tell us how to use the bathroom, but there have been so many organized religions that have been set up and have highlighted different ways for people to live so that people can have peace, that they're just performing the rituals and they have forgotten the real meaning of the lessons that they've learned. Don't split the pole.
Well, actually, Forecast, somebody had to teach you how to use the bathroom. You didn't come out there and learn how to use the bathroom.
I naturally knew how to use the bathroom.
No, you did not know how to go to the toilet. Somebody showed you.
But what's up, Matron? What's up, everybody in the chat? What's up, Forecast? Well, why is
And
this, right?
is they God, Bakari? Is they God? Do I
Your mom
pray?
and your mom and daddy, yeah. But see, when I hear this thing spook out and everybody, and really the only religion they talk about is Christianity, and I think they scared of Muslims. But then black people spooked out on everything. Matron, you remember when the pandemic hit, right? And you remember when the vaccine, they started talking about the vaccine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who was black people listening to saying the reason they shouldn't take the vaccine? It's whatever white people tell them.
That's right.
Alex Jones, all them white folks, then he'll get somebody like Rizza Islam to repeat him word for word. And the same black people would argue with me when I'm like, man, them people don't know what the hell they talking about. We got black doctors who spoke on this. Black people would rather listen to Rizza Islam, which is Alex Jones, would rather listen to those people than listen to the black doctors. So Forecast, what's the difference in being spooked out? What's the difference in being spooked out that way and being spooked out with religion? Because both of them is controlling you.
Who I think you stumped them.
Oh no, you was I was waiting for you to finish. You was
No,
done.
I'm just asking. I'm saying, what's the difference in being spooked out with religion and being spooked out that way? Because anywhere it go, it's still the same people controlling you. So what's the difference? Why do y'all just? My point is, why do everybody just try to beat up religion, but don't want to look in the mirror and say, okay, well, maybe we are spooked out too, because I didn't hear no doctor or no. Actually, I actually heard biologists. I can show you the biologists who studied the vaccine, who did all that, and who black people completely dogged him out so much. He said he wouldn't even come back on and give nobody an interview and talk about it. Whatever happened, gonna happen. So why they were repeating Alex Jones? So what's the difference?
Well, Bakari, what I'm saying is, and I don't want to cut you on this point because, I'm not trying to talk about the vaccine like
all
that.
you gotta do is answer the
But
question.
I'm about to answer the question because I don't think that it is a difference. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm holding you just as accountable for being spooked out by them white people for making you take that, thinking that, you know what I'm saying, whatever. I'm holding you just as accountable for being spooked out. So it's not just about Christians or religion when I say spooked out. So yeah, I'm saying I'm holding. No, the question. No, I'm saying I agree with you. Like I'm saying you are just as accountable for being spooked out by what somebody else is telling you.
Oh, I wasn't spooked out by the vaccine. I wasn't spooked out by the pandemic. I wasn't spooked out by neither one of those.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's not about just religion. It's about being spooked out, period.
But
Just
when we
like
say
you was
spooked out, that's what everybody. When we say spooked out, that's what everybody touch on. Everybody touch on religion all the time. Even when we talked about the women that went back to study African spirituality. Thing is, why do they need somebody to tell them something? It's not the fact that somebody needs somebody to tell them something, but people do need something. And if you have nothing to give people, and and if you have nothing to give people, nothing to offer, people are looking for something. With this hell black people that went through on this damn earth, they are looking for something. And if we don't want to accept and respect, that's why you find black people looking for something different, some type of spiritual system, because of everything that they have gone through. They are looking for something they can hope can help change their situation.
Yeah. Are you done? My bad. I don't mean to cut you off.
Watch this, right? So, like when I heard you quote Khalid Muhammad, right? Like I love Khalid Muhammad, right? Khalid Muhammad was a 5-star general, but we can quote him, but then that's why I say when we talk about religion, we only talk about Christians. But Khalid Muhammad, till the day he died, called a white man named Fraud Muhammad God. Malcolm X, till the day he died, called a white man named Fraud Muhammad God. But when we talk about people being spooked out, we only point at Christians. Farrakhan do a damn speech every time the wind blow hard. See, that's God killing our enemies. But we only point at Christians. Why is that?
Well, that's where you're wrong. Well, okay, I'm letting you finish, my brother. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying why do we only point at Christians?
They a soft target.
No, I agree with you on that, but that's why I was pointing out, like, I don't know if the dude who hugged the white girl in the court was a Christian, my brother, but this forgiveness thing goes along the lines, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm like, you may regret coming on here because, like, I'm not giving, because I mentioned people who like think Abraham Lincoln is black, you know what I'm saying?
That ain't none of me.
Like,
So why I
I
ain't
know,
gonna regret it.
but I also include people who are in cults too. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I
That's
think
spooked out too.
a cult can be good.
But it's spooked out. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're not really off the hook. And you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, you may want to rethink trying to come on here. I know you came on as Bakari because you ain't want that
So watch this, right? So watch this, right? We can talk about cults, right? Then we talk about the people that's not in a cult. You understand? But when you look at these people that we call spooked out, right? I don't know what they're doing in their meetings because I'm not there, but I can say this. With that spook out and all that, right? They have a meeting place. Since there you go, right there.
Wait, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about any of those people with you said I ain't come
like
on
the
them
church
with
and
name.
stuff?
But I'm talking about any of them. I can show you where they was at the top of the mountain in Stone Mountain, talking about worshiping the crystals and all that bullshit. But you know what? They can get on social media and say, this is where we going. And there's hundreds of people there. So my whole thing is maybe black people need to get on maybe black people who don't want to be part of a cult who think the cult or whatever is doing wrong. Maybe we need to create your own when you get people to come and then you do right by the people instead of trying to hustle them. Because
if you gonna put them to sleep, you gotta take care of them. That's all I've been saying.
Yeah,
so why not wake them up?
Because watch this. Because knocking what they do ain't gonna get them here. But then when you look and see the cults, the religion, the Jehovah's Witness, the Nation of Islam, shit, they might be cults, but they outwork us. When was the last time you was on the corner in 100-degree weather with a black with a black suit on and bow tie selling bean pie? When was the last time you was up at 6 o'clock in the morning at the gas station messing with me while I'm trying to get some coffee? I'm sorry, it was 5 o'clock in the morning trying to tell me about Jehovah's Witness when I'm trying to. And what I mean is they might have cults, but they outwork us.
Yeah, they may do. But what do they outwork you for?
I don't know. You guess what? I would say what they're telling me out there in the street, but what they doing once they get in them in their buildings, I don't know because I don't go. Because I talk to them in the streets and I debate them and I do all that.
Well, Bakari, you
go ahead.
No, my bad. I don't mean to cut you off.
See, like when Raw, my queen, she put in the chat, she said, see, we not taking the shot. I ain't saying nobody had to take the shot, right? See, even when I just mentioned the shot, we go straight to, we ain't taking the shot. I ain't saying nobody had to take the shot. What I said was how black doctors said one thing and how I could show black doctors. And I even had a friend that wanted to come on here. She's an RN and how she was talking about black babies dying in the hospital. But I knew what she was saying wouldn't resonate with black people because some YouTube scholar, some dude who read 2 sentences out of a 500-page book can get on here and start talking, and black people will follow that more than they follow the doctors. And I understand that sometimes.
So what you saying, we should be more spooked out?
We ain't got to be more spooked out, but what we can do is use spookism as a tool.
Exactly. And we already got the tool, but the problem is, right, in forecast, know this because we had this conversation, right? The church is the most revolutionary tool we ever had in this country. I don't care what nobody say. Now, they get the most flack because of what they put on TV today. But I tell people, stop looking at these big mega churches and find you a little small church. And I'm glad Bwana Hagazuki say he looked at F. Keith Slaughter Church. Look at a little small church in your community. Forget TV. And go talk to some of them and watch what that church wants you to do. And it's not going to be as revolutionary because the men ain't going no more.
But Car, even the churches in them, and yo, and by the way, Botswana, you got to come on here and get cut too about your definition of heaven. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all trying to help out Matron and stuff, but you know,
Heaven, I found heaven right here on earth. Heaven and hell right here.
No, I'm just joking. But no, what I'm saying is, Bakari, when you go to these churches these days, there's a lot of you know, we got that lynch mob stuff going on, even in these small churches, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, in some of them you do. I'm not, and this is the thing. I'm not saying the majority of the churches, right? But what I'm saying is, right, when we find something like F. Keith Slaughter, and it's my other brother, I forget his name now. I've been to his church a couple times. He had a red, black, and green flag. He was an Israelite. He left the Israelite. He was Nation of Islam. He left Nation of Islam. He a Christian preacher. But when he preached, he talk about what black people need to do. He talk about how black people need to defend themselves. He gonna sit there and talk about how we need to put out. He talk about all that stuff. But if the men who want to do that is not in there, because we can say it might not be right. And we can say, I don't want no man leading me. But that man you don't want leading you, leading your woman. So it's best if you get in there. So it's best if we get in there. So then we can have control. I'm just saying it's something worth thinking about. I don't think it's something that needs to be thrown away because it has done so much.
All right. And Matron is the co-host here, so I'm gonna let her rock. You know what I'm saying? But because and I'm gonna stop talking trash to her because before she turned up and cut me for real. Bakar, you much easier, so I'm gonna stop talking trash to her.
I don't be doing that. I just, I stand 10 toes down on what I stand 10 toes down on. But you know, the church is the only place that a black revolutionary can live. Okay. Because you go out here and you start trying to organize people in mass in public, and whether they infiltrate your movement or they flat out assassinate you, that becomes the whole problem. But we haven't had any real black revolutionaries come up out of the church in a meaningful way that was really a unifier, telling the pure, truthful message of what black people need to do at the churches that I've been to. Let me say that. And I've been to a lot of churches in Metro Detroit, from some of the biggest ones with well established names to some of the smaller ones. The bigger ones have gotten too big to serve the material needs of the people, and they're just performing, putting on the show. The smaller ones are too stingy, scared, and ghetto to try to really be revolutionary or changing, because they're trying to emulate the big churches. So unfortunately, the only place and the only thing to do, if you can't find a black church that's doing the work that you need to do, is to start, when I keep talking to y'all about this, and going through my love processes, because unfortunately, that's the only place where our people will consistently go. And that's the only message that they'll consistently understand. And you don't have to denigrate anybody, and you don't have to talk crap about anybody. You just have to use that as a tool to renew the minds of the people that you want to touch.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bakari.
No, go ahead. I was reading when Raw put it in the chat, and what she said they do every morning when they get up at 6 a.m. and prepare meals for people, right? For her brothers and sisters. And for me, that's more important than that's more important than anything, right? I literally lost I literally lost a YouTube friend because when the pandemic happened, and they were talking about what it was created. And I don't, let's say it was created. I don't know if it's created or not. So for me, I didn't get into that, right? So, but my biggest thing was, let's say it was created. What are we going to do now? And that literally bothered people, because I say, how are we going to take care of our people now? So me being who I am, I just, people say I go rogue, and yes, sometimes I do it because I had to. But when they stop dealing with me and start talking, doing shows, talking negative about me, which I don't care. I never did a show to talk negative back, because that's not what I do. But while they were talking negative about me, I can name families where I went. I made sure they had food, rice, beans, canned goods, paper towel, toilet paper, all the stuff that was hard to find, right? All the stuff that was hard to find. I got the schedules for the grocery stores, what time they gonna open, what time I can go in the store, because they was letting the elderly in first. Then they'll let a certain amount in at 8 o'clock. Then they'll let another certain amount in at 10 o'clock. And you could only buy so many items. So I knew which stores I could go to. So I was doing 6, 7 stores a day in the morning on my own. So instead of me talking about and complaining about the vaccine and talking about the shot, my people wouldn't eat. Little kids was hungry. So I went out and I fed families. I fed single mothers. I fed brothers. I made sure little kids got something to eat. And that was more important than me than trying to argue about the vaccine and trying to prove that the COVID-19 was a hoax, because regardless if it was a hoax or not, and regardless if they made the vaccine too fast or not, our people couldn't get to them stores and get no food, and people were struggling, and people wouldn't having paper towel and wouldn't having rice and beans, something that could sustain them and keep them going for a month. And that's what was important to me. So that's what I did, because that was more. So I guess I am spooked out in that way. I'm spooked out where I don't want to see. I'm so spooked out the vaccine and all that, but I wanted to make sure little black kids, the ones that I could feed, the ones that I'm out here dealing with, the ones that I see in the area where I am, I wanted to make sure that they could eat and do that, and I did that. And I hear Mike.
Yeah, Bakari. Y'all spooked out in a lot more ways than that, though, my brother. But yeah, I feel you though. And I'm not even gonna get on that, but let me say this, and this is why I'm trying to offer up to y'all, you know what I'm saying? Now, maybe, just maybe, you know what I'm saying, you can adjust and do things a little bit differently, you know what I'm saying, where you not only just leave your own stamp on somebody else and not just, do everything somebody else did, but learn from those things in the past, and leave your own stamp on, on history or whatever, and adjust. Because listen, I get that leaders from, I always talk about Ida B. Wells and all of this stuff, but times are different in their generation, and tactics must adjust to the way society is. You know what I'm saying? Things have never been the way that they've been. And maybe, just maybe not being so spooked out and having to rely on something that's already been there and not adjusting it at all and thinking that this is the way to go, and not creating something that's new, because there are new problems. There was not the problem of integration in the 1920s. You know what I'm saying? They could go to black hospitals, you know what I'm saying, black grocery stores, go work at black companies. There was a whole different problem. And all I'm saying is, being spooked out tends to also get you stuck in repetitiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like innovation and ingenuity and creating new things in a new process and a new way of doing things, I think is important. And I think that being stuck on something 100% and thinking one particular way to go is the way to go, I think that will get you hurt a lot, in my opinion. Matron.
I think that anything that you don't continue to refine will wind up hurting and harming you. So, like, I'm sticking with the split the pole thing because that's something we talked about last night. And it is a ritual to represent the fact that we're always supposed to be unified. We're supposed to do whatever we got to do, whether we got to go around that pole 3 times, whether we got to spit on the pole, jump over the pole, whatever we got to do to get back to our group is what we're supposed to do. Because our institutions and processes do work and can work if we purge the priesthood or we purge the elite out of their selfish ways and mannerisms so that they actually serve the people. because all people are really looking for is a relationship and a connection to something greater than themselves. Because to realize that you're living in a world created and concocted by someone else is a really hopeless, desperate place. And unless you decide to do something different, to build your own, which starts with the family, you're going to stay in that place and you're going to become self-destructive. So I hear you, but I think that spookism works well for us because we're closer to the creator than a lot of people are. And it works so well for us because it is our tool of interpretation. And I think instead of trying to throw out tools that work, we might need to put some Gorilla Glue on it. We might need to do some other things. And maybe we do need to go get another one that does the same thing or a newer one that does the same thing. But we need to use the tools that we have because we unfortunately interpret things in a very direct and simple way.
Yeah, and before Bakari go, let me say, Botswana, I think my brother running tonight. You know, he might can't come on here, so I'm just joking, but I think he running. But if y'all want to come on here, y'all come on here now. You know what I'm saying? So, but also Matron, you know, I gotta, you know what I'm saying, you gotta go out with a bang here because you said the creator. You know what I'm saying? Who are you talking about?
Okay, so there are some principles in nature, and I know that I didn't create and express myself, so this is where my scientific spookism comes into play. Like there was a big bang, there was some type of seismic shift, okay? But I don't know. I just know that the intelligent design of the world as we know and experience it didn't just happen by accident. And we continue to refine it as we go along. Now, whether some type of chemical molecular experiment happened and we've continued to try to figure out life on this planet, or if there's something else out there that's more intelligent than ourselves, I don't know. But I do know that there is a creator. But in this world and in this system, I have to be a God, because if I'm not a God, then my sacrifices will mean nothing for my future generations.
So you're telling me that as a man who say women can't preach, you know what I'm saying, who created this universe, you know what I'm saying, intelligently, of course, and this is what you're telling me, like, this, like, it was like, yo, who was he, you know what I'm saying? Because I
Oh,
would
I
be
don't know
like,
his name. I don't know his name. I don't know his name, and I can only go back 8 generations in my family, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know.
I know I don't want to really ask you because I really wish it was somebody who would like try to answer that. That's why I'm just throwing it out there. But let me
In the
ask you this:
beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and I don't know.
when
I
was
don't
the
know.
beginning? 2,000 years ago?
Right? No. It was millions and millions of years ago. We just started writing it down 2,000 years ago, and only 400 or 500 and some odd years ago did we write it down and make it publicly available because the printing press was invented.
All right, yeah, and so, but one more question. So, are you telling me that what I'm saying, this man who who told you that you can't say anything, what I'm saying, and who is pretty much jealous and all of this, now he tells us to forget, like, never mind. I don't even want to ask the question. Never mind.
What? Why you don't want to ask your question?
Because, man.
Well, okay. Well, why do you think spookism works well, or why do you think it works so well for us? Because I think it works so well for us because we've been watching the world epigenetically longer than anybody else, and we interpret the world that way. So why do you think it works well?
It works well because we feel like we need a origin story instead of being like, I don't know. You need somebody to fill in the story for you instead of saying, I don't know. And
You
it works.
know, do you think that the origin story is like all stories are just time wasters? You know?
No, I think stories have lessons, but then like people like literally saying like, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning, like, because what my question would be, you know what I'm saying, okay, like so the universe was created, you know what I'm saying? So you would be like nothing can't be created out of something, right?
Say that again. You said nothing can be created out of something?
I think that's how they was like, because when people say, oh, something can't be created out of nothing, when they argue against, like, there has to be a God, because nothing, something can't come from nothing.
Well, that's
Right?
where scientific spookism comes into play, because they have all these different chemical reactions that happen, and it's like 6 elements that make up everything in our environment. So that's where scientific spookism comes into place.
Right, but where does those 6 elements come from? You know what I'm saying? And they would say God, right? Or where does their 6 elements come from?
I mean, well, if elements are considered to be nature and natural, they would just say that, just the inevitable collision and interaction of these elements, and we just so happen to to spring up from that cosmic mist. I think that we the dark matter, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Right, but who created that? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Us. It's my pseudoscientific hat. Us. We the dark matter. What you talking about? That's why they keep trying to study us. They keep talking about the dark matter. Like when conspiracy theorists say, you the carbon that they trying to reduce on this mud. That's the carbon footprint they trying to reduce. But I'm sorry, Brother Bakari, were you about to say something?
Yeah, he was about to let his Christian doctrine speak. Go ahead.
Yeah, my Christian doctrine. Nah, you ain't got to say you joking, dude. You ain't got that. Don't bother me. Me and you good. But everything can't be explained. I know science try to, but I agree with Matron. There is a scientific spookism. And then when you hear people say they believe in science, right? So they believe in science. So therefore, you have a belief as well, right? So if you have a belief, why are you trying to knock somebody else's belief? Then you hear people say, see, you have to keep studying science because science changes all of the time, right? But if you stick to nature, guess what? It ain't gonna change. Well, I take that back. White people could change nature, so white people some bad folk. But anyway, but if you stick to nature, you'll be okay. Instead of trying to, I'm gonna keep up with this because it changed. I'm gonna because every 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Not, it changed. So let's keep up with something, and I believe in it. So a belief, everybody believe in something, right? That's my take. I really believe everybody believe in something. Some people make their belief public. And if you never make your belief public, no one can ever challenge your belief. But Christians, well, I'm gonna leave the Christians alone. But Muslims, because I believe forecast them scared of Muslims because they don't ever talk about them. But Muslims, they can make their belief public and say you better not put up a fake face of their so-called prophet Muhammad, may he rest in peace. And that would be okay. The Nation of Islam can walk around and still call fraud Muhammad God, and they can get a pass. But the tool that has been here and that has helped Black people, I ain't talking about a certain group that has helped Black people, period, more than any other tool, is the tool that is beat up the most. And in today's time, some of them need to be beat up. Some of these preachers, these mega preachers, and the stuff that they're doing, they need to be beat up, some of them. but we make it completely across the board. So for me, when I'm going to talk about spookism and beat up somebody's religion, I'm just going to beat up Islam. That's going to be my goal. I'm just going to beat up Islam because people leave them alone. Go ahead.
No, you know what you really leave alone, the white shyster. That's what you gonna really. No, I'm joking, bro. But
Ain't nobody trying to get deplatformed or go to the re-education camps they got in California. They're trying to get Kanye to go to.
man, you better make your own platform and say I ain't going to that camp. Well, all right.
Whatever they send Kanye, I hope they keep him.
Well, Botswana came on and he kind of saved you, Bakari, because you kind of asked a question that would have kind of cut you, you know what I'm saying? But go ahead, Botswana and Matron. So I'm gonna let Botswana save the day for y'all.
No, I come to save the day. I was good night, brothers, and my good sister Matron. I'm really just enjoying the conversation. It's very calm. Nobody yelling, even though everybody has different points of view. And I think that it's refreshing and it's interesting that all these biblical scholars on the panel, trying to suss out spiritual knowledge. So I'm just really sitting and listening and learning because this is not necessarily my lane at all. I'm very elementary.
Wait, hold on, Botswana. I gotta stop you right there, my brother. I gotta do this, and I'll just go ahead. Now, go ahead.
Right.
Finish before I cut you. Go ahead, finish. I'm gonna let you get your piece off before I cut you.
No, I'm very elementary with the religious kinds of things and the spiritual kind of things. I investigate. I do my research. My mom is a Christian, my dad is a Christian, so they've been indoctrinated in that way. I personally think it has good elements and it has bad elements. I've been around the community and Muslims when I used to live in the UK. I find that with the Muslims, they have good elements to them in how they collectively come together to create businesses and different things like that, and how they pass down that culture to the young people and the responsibilities. I've seen that firsthand. I've been around the Rastas in eating and their tradition and eating habits and natural living. That's a different aspect and element to spirituality that I observed over the years, and I just fascinated by. I feel like it's a million different truths as far as spirituality is concerned. Who am I to say what is right and who am I to say what is wrong? My only issue is the whole business of white Jesus and Africa dancing, and people actually really believe in that. That's Jesus. I have like issues with that, but I can't condemn my people because for them that's a level of hope that they hold on to. I don't like it, but I look at it as until I come up with my own version, uh, let me say my own color, but until I come up with my own version of spirituality and try to teach it to groups of people like these guys are, what can I say? What can I say? What can I say? I think that what FK Slaughter is doing is a wonderful thing for his community. My only issue is the theology of it. It's the theology of it. Me and him could get together on probably a million different fronts because we see eye to eye. But when it comes down to the theology, we may have a clash. You know what I mean? You may have a clash. So what do you do in that scenario? I don't know. I really don't know yet. I have to find an answer to that. I don't know.
All right, so and let me say this real quick, because I hate to cut you, my brother, and all of y'all, but Matron really the only one that could fight back. So I'm kind of, that's why I'd be hesitating to talk trash to her. But y'all, like, so Botswana, are you telling me that you try to call us educated because we talking about the Bible, some other stuff? Are you saying because are you believe in the Bible or something? That what you're saying?
No. I don't believe in the Bible. I just think that Matron have a background in theology and as far as Christian theology, and
So your stuff ain't theology.
What I believe?
Yeah, yours ain't theology, but Christianity is theology.
No, well, you could say what I'm saying is my version of what God is, but it's not codified, and you don't go to school for it. It's just certain things I observe as lessons in life that I
But you
think.
just called us smart for talking about it. So what you saying you don't go to school for now? I don't get it.
No, I'm saying that they more educated with Christian theology. I don't have a Christian theological background.
Well, I
So
know, but you said you putting that kind of on a pedestal, like Christianity is some. I know Bakari might be a Christian and stuff like that, but you don't have to like, like kind of put him on
don't
a
don't
pedestal.
don't put them on a pedestal.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like your stuff is just as powerful. You just as smart in your stuff. Yo, what is God, by the way? As a serious question, what is God?
That's a big question. Um, I think that we are gods. I think that man is God and God is man. That's what I think. And I think that whoever created this whole setup that we have here on this planet Earth right now, and even the universe itself, I think that that was the first group of gods. You know, and this might seem spooky now. I think that that was the first group of gods, and they say, woman or man, female energy or male energy, say, I want my my creation, us, to become on their level. But I can put a bunch of different problems and stumbling blocks for them to ascend to where we are in our godliness. That's why, through evolution, through trial and error, through through different things we learn and got wrong and we improve on, we are eventually ascending to this idea of godness, where we'll be able to create our own universes and we'll be able to create our own earths and all that good stuff. I think that this is why we've been sent here to be like to problem solve our way to eventually get to that point. Yeah, that I know maybe that's a religion. I don't know, maybe it sounds religious, maybe it sounds spooky, but through observation I believe that to be so, because I feel like man is is I'm gonna say improving on the different kinds of problems and difficulties, that he finding on this planet, and through that he's becoming better and better and evolving into something greater and greater. And I think that we'll eventually get to that point. Maybe that's far fetched, but I kind of have that belief in my head. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I'll let Matron and Bakari get into that before I ask you the last question, and I'll let Matron go for Matron the co-host, so she can go whenever she wants. But and Matron, I'll only be talking trash to you, so you turn up, you know what I'm saying, to make it harder. But I already know you be making it too hard. But go ahead.
I believe that that is definitely one rendering of God. One of the things that I think about when understanding God is that you have to look at some of the habits of the most powerful people on this planet historically. Like used to be like the divine right of kings and different things like that that they used to assert their power and authority over the masses. And a lot of them did debauchery, lascivious behavior, lewd behavior, went out making babies and bastards among the masses of people, and they did drugs. And I think that that's because at some point, even in the modern age, people get to a point where they're no longer living in a reality that we can touch because they have so many resources, whether it's money or fame or wealth or whatever, that their reality has transcended the reality that we're a part of. And because of that, they can't relate to us anymore. And our job is to get our future generations to the point where they transcend the realities that were harsh, that we lived, while carrying forward the lessons behind the rituals and the stories that we leave behind. And I think that what has happened to us is that we have divorced ourselves from the meanings of the rituals. But I like your rendering of God, because that's my perspective about a lot of things, that if you're going to exist in this reality, you have to put yourself in a place, in a position where you are a God, so that you can provide for these people coming up behind you, because that's what provides a way of life for them.
No, that's what I was going to say. What he said about God, he say, He's God, I'm God. So when you think about God, for me, I think about, and this bothered some of my Christian folks I was talking to them, because they were saying, God made sure you ate and did all this, and I was like, no, yeah, you're right, God did, but not the God y'all talking about. The God was my mom and dad. That when I was hungry, fed me. When I need clothes, bought my clothes. Kept a roof over my head. You understand what I'm saying? That was the God. That was the God I was talking about. I would tell, like, I believe in creation. I can't explain it. I don't think everybody was created the same or nothing like that. But I can't explain, and I don't try to explain. I say I believe it, but I don't try to explain because I can't, right? But when you look out and you can just see the sun and moon, the trees, you understand? All the stars, fish in the ocean. Like, how did it get there? That's almost unexplainable. So I don't try to explain it, right? So then when I go outside of me, when I go outside my mom and dad and say there was God, then there's nature, right? Because if you look at nature can provide, just about everything, right? So then there's nature. Then there was something that I would call the creator. I'm like Matron. Like I don't give it a name. People call it God, but I don't give it creator. I just say creator because I don't know what the creator is, but I don't believe it's. I hear people say he. I wouldn't say he, because if he is the father, there also have to be a mother. So therefore, it was a he and a she, right? So when you're talking about spookism and Jesus, right? Even when you read the Bible, right? The Bible talk about other gods in the Bible. Even the Bible talk about other people having their own God. When you first open the book and begin to read, it let you know that there's other that there's other gods, because unless God was crazy, because it said let's, which is let us, that means it's more than one. Let's make them in our image, right? So then you can go on over in that New Testament. I can't think of the name of them books, Jimmy Dale or Tyrone, one of them, right? And he was asking, and they was telling them, he said, the people over here, right, worship, and everything they was talking about was basically just African people, right? They were talking about, I can't remember the verse per se, verbatim, but they were talking about Isis. They worship the mother of heaven, and they do this, and that's their worship. The people here, they burn incense, and they do this, and that's their worship. And the people over here, they do this, and that's their God. But then they told the Jews, but I'm your God, and I'm the most powerful God. And to the Jews, and if that's what they believe in, to the Jews, and they believe as a man, so I'm gonna say he. And if that's their God, and he have told them, I'm your God and I'm the most powerful God, right? That's what they should believe. And when I saw those sisters going back, and I saw Bawana say something about the problem he had with them, called themselves witches. They going back and they're tapping into their most powerful God. See, because the God is in us, right? While we're doing the work, we're looking to the outside. But everything that we want and that we gonna achieve and that we gonna get is gonna come from us, from the inside. You understand? It's gonna come from the work that we're gonna do. So in essence, right? So right now we're the gods. You feel me? That's how I see it. I hear the mic. Hope I made that plain.
All right, and so yeah, Bukhari, I feel you on that too, Bukhari. Yeah, I agree with you. And I would say that's why I'd be like, yo, Amani Mongoose, even though, you know what I'm saying, my brother Botswana accused me of being a 5%er. That's why I'm about to cut you now. As a matter of fact, I'm cutting everybody, and y'all can blame Matron for making me turn up tonight because I had to be, on my A game messing with her, you know what I'm saying? And shouts out to Azuli, and shouts out to my sister Wanda Chavis, you know what I'm saying? And I know Tanzan ran tonight, you know what I'm saying? Because I was gonna cut her too, you know what I'm saying? And Koku, I wanted Koku to come on here so he can get cut too, you know what I'm saying? But we'll just settle with you, Botswana, you know what I'm saying?
You just slashing everybody.
everybody inside. All right. So listen, you know what I'm saying? Yesterday you was talking about your idea of heaven, you know what I'm saying? Like please break that down for us, my brother.
Okay, so so I said my idea of heaven is after I die. I'm assuming that I don't think and I die and come back to really know for certain. But I don't think that when my physical body died, my whatever caused my body to be animated right now, I don't think that'll die. Now, some people call it spirit, some people call it different names. And I think that that consciousness that caused me to be animated right now, which people call alive, I think that I'll continue to exist. Now, whether that version of life, what they consider to be Bwana Hagoziki, goes back to a collective form of life, if I could explain that right, or whether that remains that individual entity that we know as Bwana Hagoziki, I don't know for sure whether that'll happen or not. But my idea of heaven is that after I die, that I would be reintroduced to my ancestors. Not only my father, my grandfather and mother, my great grandfather and mother, my great grandmother, all my ancestors who would have preceded me, and even the people who take that voyage on that ship to get over here, and I feel like, we'll one day sit down laughing about life itself, or whatever that was, whatever that experience was, maybe under a tree, in front of a beach. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? I don't know if material beaches existed.
Y'all gonna stop disrespecting trees out here, man. I'm telling y'all.
Well, yeah. So we gonna sit down and we gonna line and we gonna talk, we gonna laugh, and we just gonna explain this whole idea of life in our time that we existed, and I'll learn more from them and I'll teach them what I found out, what this idea, what life is supposed to be. Now, I don't know how long that conversation gonna last for, because I don't know how many of my ancestors there is out there before me, from my mother's side and my father's side. But I think that I look at it as a great reunion. Great reunion. I'll be able to not touch physically, but I'll be able to touch base with all the people who would have preceded me, before I came to be. And we'll just sit down telling stories, laughing, and congregating with one another. Whether that'll last forever, who knows? But that's my interpretation of version of what I believe and perceive as heaven to be.
Yeah, I can I can agree with that, and I wouldn't say anything disrespectful about that, because I can appreciate that for real, like in all honesty.
No, be critical, my guy.
No, because I'm dead serious though, like, because I couldn't tell you, like, I couldn't say nothing disrespectful about that, like that would be nice, you know what I'm saying? But separate what you just said for what I'm about to say though, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that, you know what I'm saying, you and Matron and Bakari is on the main line with Jesus right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't understand. Why can't y'all just say, I don't know? Like, yo, you have to have some kind of fantasy. Why can't you be like, because you know what? It's just as plausible to say, oh, I'm going to come back and continue fighting this war. Maybe that's why y'all ain't militant minded enough. Maybe that's why y'all ready to give up and go sit in y'all recliners and you know what I'm saying, assimilate or whatever y'all ready to do and coon it up the way that y'all been doing, you know what I'm saying, and be as spooked out as y'all are, because maybe y'all ain't like, yo, I'm coming back in this war and I'm gonna come back as my, you know what I'm saying, my grandkid or something, you know what I'm saying, or whatever it is, or another black person, and I'm gonna still be in this war. So let me do everything I can while I live. Maybe it's y'all spooked out stuff that's keeping us cooned out. You know what I'm saying? What y'all think about that?
That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement.
You're supposed to say that. You're supposed to go in, my brother.
That's a fair statement. I think that I don't look at it like that. I think that when I look at death, I think that that's a level of peace. Your work is supposed to be done while you're here, okay? And you're supposed to give everything to this life while you physically have the ability to do that. After you cross over or after you transition, that's when you supposed. I feel that's when you're supposed to take your rest and start relaxing. Then you could relax. You know what I mean? So I don't know if whatever send me here or send me back here into another spirit. But my work is supposed to be done now. Now I have an opportunity to do it every morning when I wake up. You know what I mean? So you have a choice. Yeah, I mean you could be lackadaisical and not do nothing and then pass on. Then I feel like you'll get sent back because you won't learn the lessons with this life. You will learn the lessons. It's through hard work and determination you achieve the goal, the prize, the successes. You know, but if I do nothing, I feel you are condemned to continuously come back and relive this so-called like hellish experience called life because you will learn the lessons of it. So I could understand where you're coming from with that. I really could. I understand that.
Damn. Because I was about to say, Matron, it's looking really bad. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to be spooked out. We won't even take the positive spooked out stuff. I mean,
By the way, let me also say, and just a declaration, I am not a Jesus person. I don't believe that no
I don't
person
know, Botswana. I don't know about
No, I
y'all.
don't believe there's no person ever existed on this planet by the name of Jesus. I don't believe in that stuff at all. I don't disrespect Christianity, but I pretty much know that no person ever existed on this planet. Maybe Jesus, one of these Mexicans.
What? What? Well, it's okay. Jesus was black, so he existed. It's okay.
Yeah, you know.
How can you say that, Bowana, when the Israelites had already said that sky gonna crack
All
and
day.
black nappy headed Jesus gonna come out the sky
All
on
day.
a flying horse with 2 million angels and
All
gang bang on white people for black folk? How can you say he don't exist then?
Well, the sister Sheavis, I think she may be an Israelite. She could come on and explain it, man, because I ain't even getting into that argument. That's a big asshole argument.
You know, I have a primitive affinity understanding of Jesus. Jesus is just us, and Israel is real, trying to make us believe that it's real because them people took that landmass from the people. They pushing people out their houses right now today, trying to reinforce the fact that they is real. So, you know, they. I don't think that I don't think that the Bible is supposed to be taken literally. And what happens is that unfortunately, people have taken these stories to be literal in an attempt to explain and understand the world that they're in. And very few people actually take time to think about and thoroughly analyze the information. Again, looking at the relationships, because this experience on this planet is about relationships and connecting to one another. And that's why Rome built roads and that's why they invented money because people needed to be inspired to deal with each other.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying, Matron. I can't let you off the hook here. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm asking you. Like we take the spooked out part and we don't use it the militant part. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be in Botswana under a tree somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Praying to our ancestors instead of getting back to the war. You know what I'm saying? We don't use spooked out for our power. You know what I'm saying? Like I know Bakari and Botswana trying to help you out and kind of let you off the hook here. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna let that happen tonight.
I don't I don't think that I don't think that they are trying to help me out here. I think that, you know, again, we understand the story's wrong. All kingdoms are built in bloodshed. You know, I vehemently believe that the crown they wear in England, the crucified Christ, and the cave drawings that represent ritual sacrifice is a representation of what it takes to have order in a society. And you can gain order in a society by doing those things and deciding to always be the violent, or you can organize a society by having relationships with people. And if at the point that people and human relationships descend into chaos, the world will continue to descend into disorder because, again, laws are made up things. That's why people go back to it's just nature, because nature is going to be steadfast and continue to do what it does. But laws are made up things created by men who write them and enforce them. And you can either decide to be the man that's in power to write the laws, or you can decide to have a relationship with those people, or you can decide to violently overthrow those people. And that's just the reality of things.
Yeah, I agree. And I just be messing with you. I know Matron definitely don't need no help. I just be messing with you, trying to make you turn up.
Well, why are you messing with Jesus then?
Huh?
Why are you trying to gangbang on Jesus then?
Well, it ain't just Jesus. I know you said Elijah Muhammad is the most powerful black leader. I'm talking about him too.
You have
I'm
never
talking
heard me
about
say.
him.
You have never heard me say anything about Elijah Muhammad.
What is your spiritual belief or religious, if you have any?
My spiritual belief?
Yeah, if you have any, or what do you already explained it what heaven is. I think you explained what you perceive as heaven, but what's your spiritual
My heaven would be for black people to stop cooning as much as y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? That would be heaven for us to start doing what we got to do.
Okay.
Nah. No, I ain't gonna lie. I'm spooked out too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna act like I'm not a black person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that Matron has a point when she talks about, spookism, religion is the quickest way to the black mind. I just think that it has corrupted us so far, and maybe you would need something revolutionary, and that's why I call her the revolutionary. And I believe in superstitions. No, I know that there are superstitions. I know that superstitions are negative. You know what I'm saying? That I'm not offended by saying superstitious. That's the difference between me and you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that something that could be whatever, incoherent or whatever is not necessarily means I'm negative or evil or that I'm stupid or nothing. You know what I'm saying? It just gives you a level of comfort, and that's why I can agree with Matron on. But what I keep trying to tell y'all, because the cults are so easy to fall into, and the slippery slope that we keep going in on. You know what I'm saying? Like
What's a cult? I didn't mean to cut you off all mid. What's a cult?
It's like when you have a group of people, you know what I'm saying, that is just listening to a leader, not questioning nothing, and just just following and doing everything that they say. That's the best kind of definition I could get. Is that good?
It's not about good and bad. It's about how you understand it. So your family is a cult. You were a cult. You were in a cult when you were a kid because you was in a group and you did what the people in charge said do, and you followed them blindly until you came to a level of consciousness on your own. So your family is a cult.
No, because we all have different beliefs, though. We all have different lives and do different things. Like, my mom tried to make me a Christian and tried to make me think like her, but me and my mom don't think alike. My mom thinks the white man's ice is colder. She think I'd be racist for saying the stuff that I say. If my problem was I asked questions. Like, when she be like, yo, Santa Claus can't, like, we don't even got a chimney. How can he come in? I would have heard him if he came in. Like, who ate these cookies? You know what I'm saying? I ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. I've never got, I know, and maybe it's because I'm naive, or I'm not saying it's a good thing, because I'm not gonna lie. And that's what another question I was gonna ask you about spirituality, but I got your answer. I know that's something different, but because I never was good at that, you know what I'm saying? And then it took me work to get to the relationship part of it, you know what I'm saying? That's why I kind of understand that part, and
Okay, you're part of a cult though.
What cult, man?
Your culture.
Exactly. That's where I was going with
black
it.
cult. Black. I would say yes. Black cult. Yes, black cult. You're right.
So you are part of a cult because your culture. You do the same thing. same music, same. I'm just saying.
But the problem is, y'all think that black people is our own worst enemy, and I don't. So how the hell is we a damn cult? Because y'all think we our own worst enemy.
Well, I don't know who that y'all is, but anyway, right? I don't think religion is is the reason black people spooked out. I don't think black people, especially now, black people spooked out because black people scared of white folk. Black people scared of everybody but us black folk. The black people just go ahead and tell the truth. Then maybe we could get past some of this stuff we're fighting. That's why.
No, I disagree with that because I think we. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
Nah, it's okay to disagree, but today it's because they scared of. It's because they were scared of white folks. Because if you go back and look out through history, right? Even when you would say they were spooked out, black people was fighting back. They was whatever it was, they was trying to use it to make them fight back. Yeah, they made laws. The war's still going on, but they were using it to fight back. But today, it's not used to fight back. Man, they hoping Jesus be a fence around me every day, every day. That's what they hoping for now, that Jesus can be that fence and can't nobody do nothing to him. That's why. Because that's why if you go throughout, if you just go, just study, and you can see how much the church has absolutely changed. The way it went from shit. When I was little, they used to practice voodoo in the church. Some of them didn't know, some of them did. But voodoo was absolutely inside of the black church. Black churches, black folks used to go and they used to fight, but not today. They got rid of that. It became a business, and you have people like Creflo Dollar and TD Stakes, people like that, right? And they can sell anything through that because of the fear. So then the men is not in there. The men who mad at the women for being in there, they're not in the church anymore. And I'm one of them. I don't go, but I ain't mad at nobody for going. And we'll talk about them for going, but it's mainly scared of white folks. So the ones that don't go to church and talk about spookism, I'm going to show you how they spooked out. So the ones that out here don't have nothing, they're so spooked out they can't stop talking about white supremacy. White people got you spooked out in every way. Well, you know, the white supremacy, the white supremacy, the white supremacy. They got you spooked out in every way. So that's why I think they're going, and that's why. That's just my take.
All right, and
Because you're always spooked out.
All right, and we do gotta wrap it up. Well, Matron, you gotta wrap it up, right? Or you got time, or you gotta wrap it up.
I got a little bit of time, but not much. I ain't gonna be here too much past midnight if you be up late. You know, I got stuff to do.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be here that late. So yeah.
By the way, forecast. I like how you duck. I like how you duck my question. Anyways,
what's the question?
I asked you, what is your spiritual belief? I mean, because what I'm hearing from you is that
Blackism.
That's not good enough. You need to give me some details of what Blackism mean, bro.
It means that I dedicate every second of my day to make sure that me and people that look like me and my kids and all of that stuff get up out of this system, and I ain't got time to do nothing else. And I'm down for black people. I don't care if they're gay. I don't care if they Christian. I don't care if they're whatever they call themselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm down for black people, like to be whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't no particular God or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like that's all it is, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I would put my life to make sure that my grandkids is not in the same situation that I'm in, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what happens, and the thing is, I'm comfortable with saying I don't know. Y'all need origin stories, I don't, you know.
So because I don't consider that to be spirituality though. I have to push back a little bit on that because I believe in the.
So what do you mean? What would I have to? I'm not understanding that.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that from what I'm hearing from you is you, as on a spiritual level. Let me just use these terms. You don't go beyond what you can't touch, taste, feel, the material world. You don't go beyond that. As if you can't actualize it, you know, if you can't make it a physical thing, it's really something that you leave it to the I don't know. I don't really care to define these kinds of things. It's beyond me. I really don't give a shit about that. I'm
No,
just dealing with the material world, what's in front of my eyes, what I can touch, taste, feel, etc., etc., etc.
no, I wouldn't say that because there are things like emotions aren't something that you can touch or whatever or quantify, you know what I'm saying? But they are very real that you deal with, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that those things don't exist, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not even saying that there isn't some higher whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's not no atheist kind of stuff or just the material kind of a world, you know what I'm saying? But I think that all of these things are connected, you know what I'm saying? And but I think that the stuff that we get connected to, because that's what I'm talking about, and that's why I wouldn't attack anybody's individual beliefs or nothing like that. But as a people, it worries me when we put the power outside of ourselves to touch other things, you know what I'm saying? Like with spirituality, you know what I'm saying? Like even with doing this, you know what I'm saying? Like I said before, like even coming on here, I would say I hope I do like the ancestor justice, I do myself justice, I do y'all justice, and I do everybody that have faced injustice, you know what I'm saying? Justice, you know what I'm saying? That's like spookism. I got my own stuff, but I know how to leave my stuff at the door, you know. And I think that we get emotional, and I think that it's important to create a system where we don't put our emotions in the system, you know what I'm saying? Like and give people that we like a pass, you know. um
So what makes you think that we don't separate the two things too? You know, what makes you
because you're in the courtroom hugging the lady who shot your brother on a large scale.
okay?
Maybe I didn't like my brother. I don't know.
Yeah, like I mean the white bitch that killed
That's a
her,
fair
like
statement. That's a
oh
fair.
Hey,
well,
but let me
okay.
ask you a question. But let me ask you a question, right? And this I've asked this a few times. But why do you blame? Why is that blamed on religion or spirituality?
It's
Why ain't
not
that?
blamed on religion because you can go to the Moors who say, "Oh well, I'm
No,
white."
no, no. What I'm
Okay,
saying,
my
why
bad. Go
why
ahead.
ain't it just blamed on that person? That's what he did.
Because as a group, what are we doing as a group? That's
But
what
you
I'm
mentioned
saying.
but I'm talking. But you mentioned that one person and what he did. So, but why do other people gonna have to get the blame for what he chose to do?
He don't get the blame for what he chose. He
I
get
said,
the blame for what he chose. But as a group of people, y'all sit here and rather argue about ADOS and Pan African than actually focus on the people who want to do. We do this stuff. I'm not excluding myself. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? We do
Okay,
this.
I have a question. I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Okay, so um, years ago, I was told by someone if I wanted to do something for Black people, I should get into a Black organization, meaning I should focus my time, talent, and abilities into one institution because you can't lift up or change the mass of Black people all at once. You have to be in an organization, and those are the people that you choose to lift up. Have you picked or selected a group that you want to help, and then that's all that you focus your time, energy, and talent on, and then make that an exclusively Black thing?
Yeah, well, even more specifically, the water crisis thing, you know what I'm saying? And I don't have that still up, or it's still up, but I'm saying I'm focusing on, and this is my part I have to do, you know what I'm saying? So I would say yes, you know, that a specific Black thing, you know what I'm saying? But like my issue is that like with the groups excluding you, Bakari, you know, everybody here, Erica included, you know what I'm saying? Like we come to these things, but we are so worried. Like I hear people that be like, yo, the coons is gonna stop us, and then they the ones not even showing up to the meetings or doing the things that they have to do. It's not the coons, it's you that's not doing what you have to do, you know what I'm saying? And I still don't worry about that. I still have to keep going and doing the stuff, and the people who's gonna come is gonna come. But even the people who like, you know, even then I'm like, yo, let's focus on this, you know what I'm saying? And I got my flaws. That's why I'm included too, you know. But that's how hard that we have to work, you know what I'm saying? And that's the something that we don't do. And I think that the 85% is way spooked out, but even us, that's the 5% is spooked out, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, I have another question. So you have your thing that you're working on that you're trying to build up and get accomplished, right? And we've been talking about spookism and being spooked out and how these things help us. I also, other people have ideas and projects and things that they're working on. Why should they help you or believe in your mission or vision for Black people? What makes it any better than their vision for Black people?
That's a great question. And it doesn't make it any better. You know what I'm saying? The problem is they would tell you the same, they would tell you they're having the same problem as me, as Black people is not supporting. And Black people is more worried about looking up videos about Black people arguing, using the N-word, disrespecting each other. They would tell you they're having the same problems, you know, because like I would support them people too. And, you know, and I would say I have, even though, you know, I'm not rich or nothing like that, but, you know, I try to do what I can to support somebody else's movement. But also it's up to me to figure out a way where I can still make my movement work, even though I can't, you know what I'm saying, put a water thing in there today. You know what I'm saying? It's up to me to try to figure out a way. And I'm glad you mentioned that. And I, you know, just put this out there. I need a person who's good at web designing so we can like make it look professional. You know what I'm saying? When we approach these companies, because I'm trying to put together a plan to like, you know, approach more so we can help more than one person instead of just trying to make one for one. Either approach the septic tank companies or approach they stealing the money to build volleyball courts from welfare, but you know, approach the states, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta look professional and you gotta do it a certain way and have a certain talk to it, you know. But yeah, I just had to put that out there. I'm sorry.
I mean, Brett Favre don't steal. Leave that alone, bro. Brett Favre don't steal. He a good white person.
No such thing. But anyway, Haiti, if anybody should have taught us that there are no good whites, that when the Haitian people and them white folks, some of them white folks actually joined with them, helped them, and then got declared Black. And they said, these are the good whites, right? Looking at what happened then to where they are now, we should know there are none. There's no such thing. But anyway, all right. So, all right. So, listening to what you have going on and what you want to do and all that is moving and being accomplished, I want to highlight that this is why people choose spookism or baseline entertainment and degeneracy to get our attention. And that's why because those are the only things that will get our attention and organize us around these principles and things that will help a group of Black people. Because unfortunately, people have been integrated and assimilated and sucked into other institutions that aren't serving them, whether it's a corporate job or a Greek letter organization or the Masons or whatever. And I don't know how much they do or don't help each other, because some of them do really good things, but you got to be loyal and place your allegiance into that entity or institution, you know, when you join them. But that's why if you're going to have a public entity, you got to go with degeneracy or spookism. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. Before Botswana go, Bakar, you say you want to leave. I know you want to run and get up out of here because I'm gonna turn it up on you. But
man, I'm gonna be listening. I got to lay it down, man. I got to lay it down, man. I'm getting old. I take that back. I'm 50. I feel 25. Man, I had to get up early in the morning, man. I need my sleep, man. I don't sleep for 2 hours at a time. I go to bed now. I'm gonna wake up at 12 and set up, then go back down. I don't sleep more than 2 hours at a time, man.
Well, then it should be all right then. No,
yeah. But I ain't had my 2 hours.
Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, go ahead. Say your last statements and stuff in your channel. I'm gonna put your channel in there later.
It was good being on here. You know what? Revolutionary Matron in Botswana. I don't know why I forecast keep calling you Botswana like you the country in Africa, but anyway, it's Botswana. But it was good. It was good being on there with y'all. And Matron, keep learning forecast. He hard headed, so he gonna take you a long time to learn it. But keep doing your best to learn it.
I'm gonna keep them on that curve so I can learn them well. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us today, Brother Bakari. It's
Yeah.
always a pleasure. And you too, Boss Buwana.
Yes, thank you all too. And I appreciate Forecast. Forecast is in questioning mode. And he is he's very different from a lot of people who are closed minded. He's open to the different questions he have to the world. You know, our children, when small kids are very young, they always asking why. And I think that when people become adults, they stop asking why and start bluffing their way through things to make you think that they really understand and they really don't. I think that forecast and asking questions, he gonna solicit the knowledge of the universe because he is always in questioning mode. So that's one thing I appreciate about the brother.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. And I know Bukhari
Don't get that dude no credit, but don't do that.
and I know they tried to come on to help Matron, but it kind of went against her, and kind of we all proved that spooked outism is bad, has been bad for us. I'm joking. Go ahead, Matron. I'm joking. I'm sorry, Matron. I'm really sorry.
I ain't gonna beat up on you. I think that spookism has been used against us, and again, the priesthood or the people that are supposed to be looking out for our best interests have betrayed us, and we have a hard time reconciling that because people will sit in a church or an institution or an organization that is treating them bad. I didn't do that. I didn't even do that with my education. When I was in high school and they would tell me some BS, I would go and question them and go back and forth with them. And when they were resistant to the information I was really trying to get, I stopped going. I graduated high school just by taking the tests. And when I went to college, I read the student handbook, and the student handbook said that there were like 15, and this was in the 90s. So the student handbook said that there were 15 free mental health visits. And what I derived from that was that this process is meant to drive you crazy. But I didn't believe fat meat was greasy. Okay. And I kept going to school and going and taking these classes and this, that, and the other. And I noticed the further I went into the process, the more indoctrinated I became. And I resisted that process and had to go another route to get my education and my degrees. So the entirety of all these different processes is meant to despiritualize you, to divorce you from your community, to take away your identity and co-opt who you are, and to explain things and force you to get white eyes when you look at the world. I kept my black eyes.
Yeah, facts. I feel you. And let me say this too, Matron, before we close out, and the reason why I respect you so much and you are the revolutionary matron, because I do understand what you're saying. I agree with you that spookism and all of that stuff is the quickest way to get to the black people's mind. And you really gave me the revelations because that was the question that I was asking, and then you came and that was really the answer. And I agree with a lot of what you were saying. And I talked a lot of mess, and I was really just trying to, because I know you went harder every time I did, you know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that because I know a lot of people ain't really gonna try you because you are the truth, and I got nothing but love and respect for you, and I appreciate everything that you said here, and you make really good points because doing things religiously and spiritual, I don't think spirituality, religion, all of these things are bad words. I don't think that they can be negative. I think that they have worked out in a negative way so far. But I do think that revolutionary ways of using it, like we talk about with the Black church and how that has been revolutionary, I think all of that is important, and I appreciate it. So I really want to say, I do agree with most of everything that you were saying, in the way that you break down the scriptures. I know it was supposed to be some stories too, what I'm saying? Maybe we'll have to do another one later, but I ain't gonna front. This was a great show, what I'm saying? So I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I can tell y'all stories and different things like that, and we can talk about it on a different day. But today we just wanted to just talk about spookism. Has it hurt us or helped us? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And are we spooked out? And the answer to all those questions is yes, yes, and yes. You know, we are spooked out. It has hurt us and it has helped us. And we are, in fact, spooked out. And we need to accept the fact that we're spooked out. We're not more spooked out than white people. We just call it being spooked out, and we allow them to shield their spooked outedness behind symbols and things like that that have very primitive ancient meanings, and we don't call out their spooked outness for what it actually is, because we live in their world that is totally and completely spooked out.
Yeah, facts, facts. And make sure y'all subscribe to the Matron channel. She has the best class on YouTube. I'm telling you, smartest chat room. And let them know the next time that you're gonna be live, Matron.
I'll be live Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. West Coast time. And we're reading Chancellor Williams' The Rebirth of African Civilization. I know you guys like to hear about the destruction of African civilization, and you like to hear about ancient history and things like that. But we need some context and some information about the tools that have been used or that were observed by our thinkers that can help lift us up and build us up.
Yep, facts, facts. And like I said, yeah, I appreciate everything that you come through here, and everything that you said, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so just spooked out being help us more, you know what I'm saying, or hurt us more. And I agree with Mason just said, it has hurt us, it has helped us, and it can help us in the future, you know what I'm saying, if used properly. So yeah, I want to thank you, and I want to go out on this, you know what I'm saying, because this is the way that is being used currently. So I'll let this sister give the last words, you know what I'm saying, for us.
I thank God for slavery. I thank God for the crack house. If it wasn't for the crack house, come on somebody, God wouldn't have never been able to use me how he can use me now. And if it wasn't for slavery, I might be somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree.
So
You muted your mic. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but that sister is totally off, and she don't see the divinity in the tree. She wrong for that, leading people astray.
Facts. Stop disrespecting the tree. You know what I'm saying? And my sister Matron is the truth, the revolutionary Matron. Her channel is in the description and in the chat. That last one is Consider Cheek. So y'all subscribe to her. She be going in all the time. But thank you, Matron. This was definitely fun. Did you enjoy it? I ain't trying to talk too much trash. I ain't mean it. None of it.
I absolutely enjoyed it. You don't be talking trash. You just be asking questions. And the problem is that we don't take time to explain the world to our children. And if I, being older than you, don't take time to explain to you or share with you my understanding, then I'm just submitting you to a system that I have a little bit figured out. So, no, I enjoyed this very much. You have a really smart and compelling show, and you ask really great questions. So thank you for having me. I appreciate you, and I look forward to being here in the future.
Yeah, and I hope you come back, And I gotta say, my sister Wanda Chavis, thank you, you know what I'm saying? She just donated. And my sister Wanda Chavis has been holding me down before anything. And even when I was like, not doing lives, she was right there holding me down. So shout out to you, Wanda. And thank you. And yeah, y'all can answer the question for yourselves. Is are you spooked out? You know what I'm saying? And does it help or hurt us? So as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.